Nanya in the building. How you doing? So, Dad,
hmm How you doing?
hi. I have my father on the line because for before we get started, it's a crazy lady. Remember the crazy lady I said that was trying to sue me?
Yes.
That sent the little cease and desist thing to my granny's house.
Yes, I do.
Well, now she's threatening to do all types of things, but I just wanted to show her this little thing. Some before you, matter of fact, let me put you on mute real fast. I'll be right with you, okay, Dad?
All righty.
All
Are
right.
you ready?
So this right here, this is people want to know how I make money. This is something that I've been doing for a very long time. Something I created. Do you see the date? Copyright 2015. That would have made me 24 years old when I came out with this. Do you see that? It's a training thing that I came up with, right? A whole bunch of these corporate type stuff. While she's worried about YouTube money. Why would Charlize in the house, spot him? Why would I invest all of my money into something that could be gone any minute? I'm a YouTube veteran. Like, I'm not playing with y'all. Now, just type in split cut. Oh, let's type that in. Let's type that in. Let's type that in. It's on Google Play. All right, how about we type that in? Google Play. In the Android market, right? Apps and stuff. That's what I do. Look. See? I got another one called Wi-Fi Watcher. I've been doing this. Is she worried about YouTube? All right. Dad.
Yes.
So this young lady said that you molested and raped me.
I did what?
About
I
ratting?
never done anything like that in my life to anybody.
Exactly.
What the hell?
You know what I'm getting tired of with women?
What's that? Besides them being crazy?
I am getting tired.
I'm so sorry.
No, go ahead.
I am a licensed foster care dad. I've been checked out by the FBI. I don't. That's an insult.
Right.
But go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna say join the panel. Join the panel. Let me just invite them to join the panel.
So she's just a liar.
If you would like to join the panel, there is a link. Let me pin that as well. But we had to deal with this before when people want to say things like that. I don't understand when women can't deal with what you actually say. They will make up things, but to me that's not something that you make up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand. But the deal is, if I see that in print somewhere, I will sue her ass.
Right. And my daddy has money. He's not playing around. And then so I had to have Nick come on here and clear his name as well, because she basically she was saying things like, and it don't even make sense, Dad. She was saying, matter of fact, let me let you hear it. How about that?
Right.
I'm gonna let you hear it. Wait, can they hear it? Can they be here? She lives in New York. I'm gonna say, how can I? Oh, there we go. Ha! My other computer. I'm gonna use my other computer. Hold on. Ha! We doing it big around here. But why I'm getting this all booted up, Dad? Can you say a few words? Oh wait, hold on. Can you talk to Tony real fast? The one that you was ducking. Hold on.
Oh my God.
Tony, can you talk to Daddy real fast?
How are you, Mr. Draper?
I can't hear you, Tony. You better fix your mic. Hold on.
Hello? Is that better?
I can't hear you. Nah, Tony's trying to duck. Hold on, Dad.
Hello? Ain't nobody ducking. Ain't nobody ducking. You can't hear me. That's crazy.
No, I
I'm
can't
like
hear you.
talking loud
He's
as
ducking.
possible.
And I did this last night. Hold on, let me see. I did this.
Hold up.
I did this last night.
I want the government to take care of everything I need.
I will. Oh, wait.
Boy, you'll be sorry for that shit.
Mr. Draper. Mr. Draper, how are you?
Okay, so my audio is on.
Your audio
it's
is
you.
on.
It's you, Tony. It's
all right,
you,
hold up.
I'm gonna kick you off and bring you back, okay?
All right, yeah, do that.
Okay, it's Tony. Daddy, he's trying to duck.
So that's it.
Hold on, I'm gonna take him off and then I'll bring him back. Tony, okay, he gonna come back. Y'all hear him?
Go live in Cuba.
Oh, y'all can hear Tony? We're not gonna start that again. We're not doing that again. Back in the day, they say they can hear Tony, but we couldn't. Oh, you know what? Make sure my volume is up. All right, he gonna come back, y'all. He was supposed to be debating my daddy. Yeah, he was supposed to be debating my daddy a while back. Let me power this laptop up because I want you to hear this foolishness, Dad.
You want me to hear that crazy lady?
Yeah, she's talking about.
I be saying nothing about me. Go down there and sue her ass. She be scared to look at a computer.
She come talking about, and this one want to be dead. I'm not even do all that. She was trying to this one dead, y'all. She was trying to say, who touched you? Your daddy, your uncle, your brother. Just deal with what we. Why would you even? Tiffany, your dad, my daddy, I don't know. My daddy mic is low because he on the phone, but Tony, come back. Where you go? He ducking you, Daddy.
Don't run.
Because I did this last night and I tested it out, Dad, and I heard everybody. Not everybody, everybody.
Ask any of your listeners, do they want to be like Cuba?
I don't know if they know what Cuba, because see, with me, I don't know what's going on in other, parts of the world.
God. See, he don't know either. He just go with the idea that it's going to be utopia when the government takes over and do everything for you.
Wait, the snarky socialist. Hold on, I see something. He got the snarky.
Yeah, that's me.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
All right, Daddy.
Hey, can you hear me now?
Let my daddy. Can you hear him?
Yeah, I can hear you perfect. All right, good.
Okay, let my daddy go first because he's the dad. All right, go, Dad, go.
Okay, this young man, Tony is his name.
Yes, that's Tony.
Ask him, has he seen any videos on Cuba? The government everybody
there. Okay.
Well, there you go again.
Like about that.
Let's talk about Cuba. Let's talk about Cuba. Respectfully. Let me answer respectfully. Okay. Now, you want to talk about Cuba. You want to talk about a country that has suffered from socioeconomic terrorism from Western nations ever since 1959. You want to talk about a country that's had to suffer through embargoes to where they can't even get their basic crops out. You want to talk about a country where when Castro took over, it was a narco-capitalistic state where you had the mob, prostitution, gun running, gambling, every potential vice in the book, everything that goes against conservative values happening in that country. You want to talk about a country, Mr. Draper, you want to talk about a country where when Castro took over, the first thing he did was tell those white Cuban landowners that if you're going to have people working your sugarcane plantations, you better start paying them. They didn't want to do that, so he kicks them out. Well, he didn't kick them out. He seized their land because, slavery ain't right. And what did they do? They went into Florida. Well, let me finish. Hold on, let me finish. The first thing they did was they went into Florida, where they've been reliable Republicans ever since. You want to talk about Cuba? Let's tell the whole story. Let's, as we say, as we used to say in church, let's tell the whole verse. So what we're seeing right now is nothing more than westernized propaganda that's like basically been infiltrating the Cuban people. What you're not seeing and what they're not going to show you is the overwhelming majority of the Cuban people who are in support of their government. Cuba has one of the highest literacy rates in the world. It also has like a higher life expectancy than the United States. Now, you know, in the black community, we usually be out of here by 62. Cuba, they last until like 77, 78, bro. I mean, if you want to talk about Cuba, if you want to talk about economics, if you want to talk about a type of policy, you have to agree that neoliberalism, trickle down, and the hyper-capitalistic society that's created a gig economy since the 1980s in this country has not worked. That's
all right,
my statement.
Let's give my dad a chance to rebut.
What part of has not worked are you focusing on? Because if you think the rich people should give their money to the poor people, give it to them. Oh, for instance, like you get no, I got to go back to Cuba right quick. Cuba.
All right, let's go back to Cuba. Let's keep talking about it. We can talk about Cuba all day.
The people who can't buy and sell, or we can't, as America, give anything to them because the government takes it first. The government owns everything in Cuba.
Okay.
You own nothing.
Okay, so
live your life.
So
taking care of you.
All right. I love
own anything. And have you ever got a job from a poor man? No. If I live in 100, I want to live free, where I can come and go as I want.
Well, if not for travel bans and embargoes, they could. Like, let's not like everything that we've been taught.
The embargo against them.
The embargo was imposed by the Kennedys.
Whenever we send stuff to them, and apparently we don't like the way the people are being treated, because people have left there coming here. Nobody is leaving here going there.
Okay.
Now, I hear people standing in long lines, no food, no money. The money, American dollars, are turned into their money. I just can't see myself living where a government has to tell me what I can do, where I can go, where I can work, how much money I'm gonna make every week or month or whatever they do over there. I don't think no one was created to rule over another. Nobody should. I want to be free to make my own decisions, my own choices, be it wrong or right. I want to be free to create my own business where I can trade with who I want. Not for the government to tell me you can't. And the embargo is because of the stuff the government is doing to the people. And so we have to do something to get their attention, to stop them.
Okay. So with that being said, you believe in a 62-year embargo. Well, not even 62 years, because you believe in a 60-year embargo. All right. Which basically stifles anything that anybody in Cuba would probably want to go into. Like, think about it, right? You have a case where
he said, say again.
You want to, so this 60-year embargo is not just done with Cuba. It's done with any westernized nation against developing nations during the Cold War, especially black nations. Case in point, when Haiti declared its independence, we're going back to 1804, 1805. When Haiti declared its independence, the French did the same thing. They basically strong-armed the newly created United States into imposing an embargo. Now, that was purely based on racism, but that racism was based on capitalism. Now, I'm not just completely arguing against capitalism, but without capitalism, you wouldn't have had racism because you wouldn't have had a supply and demand for free labor. Now, going back to Cuba, this same tactic has been imposed. The same tactic was imposed in Burkina Faso. The same tactics were imposed against the Congo when Lumumba took over. And what do those two countries have in common? They were countries that decided to go against the capitalistic paradigm, which is completely based upon exploitation. Now, you want to say it's because they're doing things that we don't like, as if we don't do the same things that they're doing here. We don't have hyper incarceration. We don't have rampant income inequality. We don't have nepotism at high government levels. We don't have a government that, and not even in your best interest, tries to tell you where to go and what to do and what to think, regardless of what party's in charge. I mean, if you're going to attack an economic policy, Mr. Draper, at least be intellectually honest. Because I'm looking at it this way. I'm somebody that believes, okay, yeah, it's important to have freedom. But more importantly than freedom, true freedom is when you don't have to worry about the roof over your head, the clothes on your back, the food on your table, and being able to support your children.
That's for you to make that happen. It's not for my government to make that happen.
Okay, and so you ever actually looked into the preamble of the Constitution? Just out of curiosity. You've ever looked into it?
Nope.
To promote the common welfare. The common welfare. And when I say welfare, I'm not talking about the program welfare. I'm talking about the government's job is to provide services. The government's job is to provide services. Go ahead.
I'm just saying, when you said welfare, I'm saying that right there was a bad idea.
You think it was a bad idea? Okay, so
people that won't get out their butt in order to have something for themselves or for their families, or leave some generational wealth behind, because everybody's dependent on the government to take care of them from generation to generation to generation.
Like spiritual whistleblower.
I see that, but
so you believe
what country? Socialism actually worked.
When did socialism work? Oh, you want an example? So, do you take private roads to and from work every day, or to and from your business if you own a business? Have you exclusively gone to private schools your entire life?
Have I ever went to a private school?
Have you gone exclusively to private schools your entire life? Exclusively. No. You haven't gone. So okay, all right. So have you taken personalized?
Had to go into public school. Regular people, not people with silver spoons. We go to public schools and we
Okay. I'm just asking because those are the tenets of socialism. Believe it or not. I mean, actually, you want to go back. Actually, you go back.
Are you telling me that our public schools are socialism?
Public schools, anything provided by the government, whether local. Let me finish. Anything provided by the government, local, state, or federal, has always been attacked and decried as socialism when it was first trying to be implemented. When they tried to create the interstate system, the Eisenhower interstate system, there were those on the right at the time, but they were a very small minority at the time that said, no, that's socialism. But the public paradigm at the time, was that government should provide those types of goods and services.
But wait a minute. Let me interrupt. We have a comment. Mad Militant News said Trump shouldn't have to do nothing for us. We should be doing it for ourselves.
Trump is irrelevant. Not to be disrespectful. Trump is irrelevant, and here's why. Because if you actually follow conservative politics, you'll understand that Trump ain't even really a conservative. First off, Trump is the biggest opportunist and grifter that the right wing has ever had. And the right wing, unfortunately, you guys are susceptible to grifters.
For the black people.
Say what?
Anything for the black people.
That's what King Mike just asked. Let me put it back on the board. What did Trump do for black people?
He hasn't. I'll tell you what he did. What he did was he wrote off of a lot of bills that Obama already had set in motion under the Obama administration for all of his flaws. Because again, I'm to the left. Hold on, I'm to the left of Obama, so it's a lot of things.
For you personally,
Say
if
again.
Obamacare and you're happy with that,
He said. He said. What did Obama do for you?
What did Obama do for me? Well, let's see. My personal income went up under the Obama administration as far as like job opportunities.
And let me ask you this. I don't know how old you are, but do you pay your own health insurance?
Yeah, it comes out of my check.
Oh, really? Okay.
It comes out of my check.
Did that increase?
Did that increase? You know what? You know why it comes out of mine? You know why it comes out of my check? Because we don't, you know why it comes out of my check? Because we don't have a national healthcare system that would basically allow for the union that I work for to bargain for higher wages. Instead, because the company has to make a concession on providing healthcare through Blue Cross Blue Shield, that's my personal one. The company says, well, we're giving you healthcare, so we can't give you higher wages. That's why it comes out of my check, Mr. Draper. With all due respect.
Let me say, okay. Obama gave you got a higher salary, right?
A higher salary under Obama, yep. Under Obama, a lot of companies that wouldn't hire me before.
How much it was?
How much it was?
Did you or not see an increase in your health care when Obama took over?
Let's see, when Obama took over, I was about, say, 19 years old, right? And at the time I was making $9 an hour. At the end of Obama's term, at the end of Obama's second term, at the time, I was making upwards of $25 an hour. So I could say the Obama years were good for me, Jack, if I'm being real. Now, for all of Obama's flaws, and I'm about to list them too, because again, I'm not your standard liberal, sir. I'm not even a liberal, actually. I'm to the left of liberal. And the common misnomer is that conservatives think that every left winger is a liberal, but that's not the truth. I'm a socialist. I think there's a lot that Obama could have done when he was in power. He could have used the apparatus of government to not only move the black community forward, but everybody forward as a whole. But he didn't. Instead, he made too many concessions to people who never were going to vote for him. Just being real.
Oh, okay, hold on a second. I lost you a minute. You said that Obama could have.
He could have done more. He could have done a whole lot more, but he didn't.
A whole lot more for the blacks and the whites and the Mexicans and everybody.
For everybody. We're not just talking about the black community.
He's saying just not for the black community.
Just not for the black community, but especially his policies would have helped the black community even more. One would have been federal jobs guarantee. Two would have been a real. Say again.
First of all, the federal government is too big. Second of all, what do you mean by a federal government guarantee?
A job guarantee. All right, let me explain how that'll work. Right, you know how we have this huge military. You know how we have all these tanks, bombs, planes, etc. Because it ain't a private military. The government has the military, right?
Right.
Okay. So follow me here a little bit, Mr. Draper. You know the government isn't the one building the tanks and bombs and planes, bullets, guns, etc. The government contracts companies to do that. That's how a federal job guarantee would work. That's how it will work. The government would say, okay, this is what I want done. I want this national park to be built, or I need people to extend this section of the interstate, or something as simple as built. Okay, and so they'll find a company.
One second. I believe that the states And this will cut down waste, in my opinion, from the federal government, because they have no business getting in the business of different states when it comes to their infrastructure. We should be able to handle our states with our
so you don't believe that the federal government should be in the business of each different state, right?
Did
So
you
you
hear,
believe the government should just be hands off completely, correct? Just hands off, right?
Ask your question again, Tony.
You believe the government should just be hands off, don't get involved in anything the states are involved with, right? Just deregulation all around, right? Just no regulation at all, right? You believe in no regulations, right?
There's certain things the government wasn't designed to do all this stuff it's doing. It just was not.
So you believe no regulation, no intervention in what the state's doing at all.
Yes, less regulations. I didn't say no regulations.
So less regulations. Yes. Well, let me ask you this next question: how did less regulations do for the rolling blackouts that happened due to that ice storm y'all had down in Texas?
Hold on. We have a comment. Socialism is messing up people's life now and our kids' future. He is going to hold himself accountable if this ain't right for this country. Who I blame for F with my money.
Okay, so to the comment regarding socialism never took hold in this country because everybody
one at a time. One at a time. He wants to answer your question about the ice.
Yeah, the ice storms. Tell me how that worked out for y'all down in Texas.
All right, listen, Dad. He wants to know your reply about the ice storm.
Yeah, how that work out for y'all down in Texas?
He said ask your question about the ice storm again.
So you saying you believe in less regulations, right? Well, all I'm saying is Texas decided to kowtow to the big energy companies and say, okay, we're going to have less regulation and take ourselves off from the East and Western power grid. How'd that work out for y'all in February? How's that working out for y'all now with them telling y'all you can't have your AC lower than 78?
Less, okay? I didn't say
that's less. That's less than what was.
I'm just saying certain things they should be in to make sure that the regulations are kept, to make sure that we don't suffer from somebody else's negligence like they did. And I know that they should never have done what they did. But supposed to be smarter people than us thought that was a good idea to just let the government, take the government out of that, and then they would handle their own business. They would make sure that the machines and the systems was up to code, up to date, and guarantee that it would work right. Now, you talking to a guy who's been to North Dakota, South Dakota. I've been everywhere where it's so dang cold, my phone froze up and stopped working. The one thing they did have was power.
Let's try to be respectful. Please don't call Matt Militant. Please don't call Tony a dummy.
Oh, I'm a dummy now. No, it's cool. It's cool.
North Dakota, South Dakota have their grids over there. They never have a problem. See, when you're not paying attention to what's going on, and at the first summer just hit, the first summer, they called everybody, they want everybody to conserve energy. But we already told them, the government told them, get your house in order, fix these machines, make sure that it can handle. Go and get extra power from different people, do whatever you need to do. But the regulations, they just, when the government let the regular people do that, they screwed it up. And they still screw it up. So they have hearings. But people say they're going to do this and they're going to straighten this, but they never do.
It's still, okay. So you basically answered my question. You basically answered my question that when you don't have regulations and you leave irresponsible people.
Because people will die if they don't take care of business like they should. If the machines are not working right, the generators are too cold to function, or the gas, that compressed natural gas can't get to the generators. When you got people that just screwed up, and it's a bunch of people that do that, there's more money going in their pocket, and they're not taking care of business. And that's just like not servicing your cars where they're supposed to be. And the first winter comes, your stuff break down.
We have a comment, Dad.
What you got? I want to talk about that frozen road too, because I'm gonna surprise him with something he don't know about. And I guarantee you he don't know. But go ahead.
Ask them their opinions regarding reparations and what will or will not become of it to the community, or is it a dead subject?
Dead subject. It would never happen.
I think that reparations is necessary, but the way that you implement that and you dole it out, that's the question. That these the kind of idea that I know what they talking about. Okay, well, Militant, if you're so intelligent, how about you come on up here and discuss what you believe then? Because I have facts, numbers, and statistics to back up what I'm saying, and like real world experience, Mr. Mad Militant. Now back to you, Mr. Draper. Now tell me about that frozen road.
He said, "Tell him." He said, "Tell him about that frozen road, Dad."
It's a nightmare. It is not going to happen. The Indians may get it. The Chinese, the Japanese, all them, they got their cut. But the black man will not, because we're not all from slavery.
So you agree that so what you're saying is, so you agree with me that there are problems that are systemic, correct?
Yes. But
you agree that those systemic problems disproportionately
systemic problem? I'm gonna say no.
So you agree that there are problems that
I'm gonna give you an example. The Jesse Jacksons and Al Sharpton and all them. If it wasn't for racism, they wouldn't have a job. They wouldn't be able to go to companies for money, so they can hire a couple more blacks to make the quota.
You really think that Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton are actual leftists? You think that those guys are actual leftists? That's hilarious. No, listen, let me tell you. In my city, both of them lost their hood pass.
To be honest about it.
They are not of the left. They're what we call controlled opposition. They are paid to basically raise their fists and shake their fists at the talking heads every 6 months or so, whenever there's another crisis or one of us gets our brains blown out by the cops. That's what their job is. Those who
actually accomplishing there.
Let me finish. Those who actually understand everything from working class intersectionality and how the policies of trickle down economics have hurt the black community, especially because I can give you some prime examples. Okay, when they cut, the first thing they did in the 70s was they took the vocational things. They took the vocational classes out of a lot of the high schools in the inner cities. The second thing they did was a lot of the jobs in the inner cities packed up and moved. It had nothing to do with. Let me finish. Hold on. Let me finish. It had nothing to do. It had absolutely nothing to do with taxes or regulations implemented by the city, any of that. What had happened was you had more black people moving into different parts of the inner city: Baltimore, Chicago, New York, Philadelphia, DC, anywhere you could think of that there was a hub where the interstates met. You had black folks that were starting to move and branch out. So these companies did not want to hire black people, so they left. And where did they go? They started going into the South, or they just went overseas altogether. So now you have a case where you have no jobs and people who ain't even trained. And then the last part, which was this ain't the knockout blow. The third part was when Reagan got in power, he cut the CEDAR program, which was basically federal after-school programs in a lot of the cities. So when you do shit like when you cut the after-school programs, when you deindustrialize the schools, when you move the jobs out of the city, you have a people who don't have anything to do and no money. So where they're going to go? To the criminal underworld, right? Next thing you know, the last piece, the magnum opus of it all, was the introduction of crack cocaine. The introduction of crack cocaine. That there's a CIA that the CIA operatives, there was a CIA operative who admitted
Yeah, I know they
that
did.
crack cocaine. Now, so where did it? So it went. So let's look at. So let's look at that. So
But
it was. So Reagan says he had no knowledge. Come on, man. Reagan has been the most harmful. Reagan has been the most harmful.
So that is saying that look how long ago. Say it again, Dad.
I know what happened.
Say it again.
I know what happened in the 60s and 70s. I'm talking about now, the progress that we have made. When you got Jesse
progress
Jackson,
that we have made, there's been 40 years of union busting.
Made any progress whatsoever.
We got 40 years of union busting.
Anywhere you want to go. The only thing that matters to the white people now is that green dollar and your shoot, I'm brain dead right quick.
Like a typical conservative.
Credit score, your credit score and your dollar bills and how long you've been on your job can put you anywhere in this world you want to go.
It can get you anywhere you want to go. So what you're saying is systemic issues are no longer relevant. The reason why I'm bringing up that is because it still affects us to this day.
He asked you, do you believe that systemic racism is still relevant?
No.
You don't think it's relevant. Okay, and that's where the rub is. Because I can show you.
If you felt like somebody did a racist thing against you, personally, okay? Personally.
It ain't personal. Well, you know what? You're right. It is personal. It's personal. It's personal when you.
And that's
it's personal when you.
It's
personal when you apply for. It's personal when you apply for a job, and you can already tell by the disposition of that person interviewing you that your application is going to file 13. But let me finish though. Hold on. It's personal when.
Hold on.
It's personal when it's life or death. It's personal when it's a life or death issue. It's personal when you're trying to make a way for yourself out here. And then they say, "Oh, you need to pull yourself up by your own bootstraps." Like, come on, that's a crack of bullshit. Like, let's be real. Like, let's keep it.
If a door closes in front of you.
Oh wow, racist. I've been lied to. Militant, get up here. Please.
He said Militant said he has a loud background.
Who, me? I got a loud background.
No, not you. He's saying he can't get on here because he has a loud background. Militant.
Okay.
Oh, he can't. Yeah, but he's seen the guy a lot to say in the comments though. He got a lot to say in the comments. Talking about racism. He said racism ain't an issue. You gotta be kidding me, Jack. I see it every day.
He said, Daddy said, how old are you, Tony?
For me, I'm 32 years old. I'm 32.
I'm twice your age. I am
twice your age. You twice my age, but that doesn't mean that my experiences don't count. I did 4 years in the service. You can't tell me I ain't seen racism. You can't tell me.
He said, "It's so much better now. It is so much better than it was."
It's so much better, but it's still that does not exonerate what's going on. You're trying to exonerate it by saying, "Oh, it's so much better," and that type of mentality is actually what halted our progress. Because in the end, everybody's like, "Well, I got mine. You over here and get yours, Jack."
Here's to you. Would you work for
Militant? Come on up here, Jack. Come on up here. Come on up here. You got a lot to say in the comments.
Hold on. Daddy got a question. Go ahead, Dad.
Would you go and work for a company that doesn't want you there? I don't care if it's black people don't want you there.
Yep.
Or white people or Mexicans.
Yes, I have.
Yeah.
I have.
Doesn't even want you there.
Yes, I did work for a company that didn't want me there. What'd you say?
He said he did work for a company that didn't want him there.
I have too.
Yes, I did.
Get out of that company. I got an education from that company, and I used that to climb up to where I am now.
So how is that relevant to you saying that racism don't matter when it clearly does?
Better yourself.
Okay. So, okay. So basically, what you're trying to do is, and this is typical of most conservatives, they try to chastise somebody who may be younger than them, based on the fact that you're trying to minimize my own experience, and that's cool. And that's cool. It's typical. I know that's in y'all playbook.
He said you're trying to minimize his experiences in life, Dad.
No, I'm just saying.
And that's typical in y'all playbook. That's typical. It's in your playbook.
That's all I'm saying. And my experience is different from his. His is different from mine. Somebody older than me is different than me. So we all got some experience out here. Still, you cannot say.
But it doesn't mean that you should minimize, though. You should minimize. And that's the problem with the conservative ethos. They always like to minimize somebody else is going through something. See, the difference between... See, the difference between you and me is we both hate liberal policies, because liberal policies are oftentimes halfway done and incomplete. Your argument is to get rid of it altogether. My argument is to get to the root of it and try to fix it all together. So when it comes to if you wouldn't like something like affirmative action, I say you adjust affirmative action so that the people that should be represented, or the people that are actually qualified, that come from a vulnerable community, get that same opportunity. See, I'm talking about equity. I ain't talking about equality here, man.
I have no disagreement with that. But for somebody to tell a white person, you can't go to college, you need to let this black in, I got a problem with that.
Okay, so you know how you fix it? You know how you fix that? Okay, so here's how you fix it, right? It's just real simple. You don't make it based on race. You make it based on socioeconomic status. You make it based on the parents' income. You make it based on the zip code they come from. If it's a poor area, if you know they can't afford it, then what you do is you say, okay, if you're under this income level, you can go for free if your grades are right. That's how you make it completely based on merit.
With that, I have no problem with that. Because a lot of black people are very intelligent, but because of their income or where they live and all that, they will never get to go to college. Never get to go to experience real life. I have no problem with that. But systemic racism, no.
Because you don't believe in systemic racism. Okay, we can talk about incarceration rates. We can talk about how doctors are killing black women in the hospital. I mean,
come on.
Yeah, Tiff. Yeah, you know exactly what I'm talking about. We can talk about all kinds of things. Systemic racism is still real. It's not just the cop black blowing your brains out on the street, man. It's the judge who wants to give a heavy-handed sentence when your white counterpart did the same crime. It's the lawyer.
Let me say this. I just hold on, Daddy. I just told Tony this. I said, I want you to tell the people what I asked you, Tony. I said, why is it that black people only make up 14% of the population? And some people said 12, but they are over 60% of all crimes committed. You can answer that, Tony, Dad, and then we have Mad Militant, who's been heavy in the chat, joining us. Go ahead, Tony.
All right, there's one word to answer that: poverty. And to clarify that, it ties into my arguments against deregulation in the 70s. Our communities have been historically over-policed. After the civil rights movement, right after Dr. King got killed, they realized we can't have lynch mobs and killing them anymore. So what do? We put on these police uniforms. And even before that, we were historically over-policed. A lot of the times it was like trumped up charges that they gave us to throw us in jail. Even if we didn't do anything. There used to be a crime called vagrancy, which basically meant you didn't have a job. And you could be locked up for that.
Yes.
You could be locked up for simply congregating. You could simply be locked up for congregating amongst your peers waiting on the bus. Okay, so that got written into the letter of the law of a lot of these black codes. And a lot of the black codes, they just changed the language. White supremacy reorganizes itself the way it doesn't look like what it used to. See, the problem is a lot of conservatives, they want to look at white supremacy as just the example we saw in the 50s with the white citizens councils and the lynch mobs trying to kill the freedom riders to try to register black folks to vote. It's not that anymore. Now it's the kind of legislation where that wants to say, oh, well, you need to have this, that, and the third in order to vote, even though you've been living there 15, 20 years. And you know you're a citizen.
Do you have a problem with having ID to vote? All
right, if you want IDs, right? If you want ID to vote, are you cool? Okay, so you cool with fingerprint identification?
I have no idea.
Let's take it further than that.
You get your paycheck. When you first start getting your paycheck, you may have direct deposit now. But remember when you first got your paycheck, you needed ID to cash it?
Yeah, you needed ID to cash it. But let's be real here. You want to talk about voter ID, right? Okay. Then why is it that, okay, I'm for voter ID, but I'm not in favor of all of a sudden purging 250,000 black people from the voter rolls, Texas?
I can't hear. Hold on a minute. Here's what's changed for me, okay? Here's what's changed. I had no problem when I got ready to drive to get a driver's license, with a picture on it. No problem. I had no problem when I started working and I went to cash my paycheck, they wanted my picture ID. I had no problem with that. Then, well, first I had to get a Social Security card, which I'm surprised they don't have an ID on it. But the problem is, there's so many people coming in here from the south of the border. And
you actually believe that? Oh my gosh. Okay, I got some oceanfront property in Arizona for you.
I'm a citizen of the United States of America. You must earn that right by being born here or become a naturalized citizen.
Now wait.
Ain't nothing gonna change that.
All right.
In order to register, you need a social security number. So how the hell you gonna vote without? So how? In order to register, you need a social security number too. Illegals are not voting. That is not. I don't care what anybody says. Illegals aren't voting. They did a freaking audit. They found that the people who were committing fraud, voter fraud happens.
I can tell you a story right now. You probably say I'm lying, but I'm a swear to God.
I never called you. I never would call you that. My grandmother would smack me if I said that word, man.
And they would not even see me at all until I told them, what did I live? Where did I live? And what's your wife name? Does she work? But the room is full of Mexicans and they're calling in one by one.
Okay, wait a minute.
I've been here all my life.
Wait a minute. We want to give Mad Militant a chance to chime in real quick. Mad Militant, please welcome to the panel. How you doing?
Hey, how you doing today, Tiffany?
I'm
been a supporter
good.
of your channel for 2 years in the bushes. You know what I'm saying? But had to come out, you know what I'm saying, on this one and stuff, because this is kind of like the angle that I'm going at. And salute to the brother Socialist. He is dropping his work and stuff, you know what I'm saying? But it's like we just got a disagreement on a lot of things as far as the direction of what he's speaking and where he's trying to take us. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm a guy that's been following this just like he has. You know what I'm saying? We just having different views as far as the direction we should be taking our people, because I feel that our people at this time is being brainwashed. We're being led a way to help somebody else. You know what I'm saying? And the evidence is there if you look these kind of things up, or just follow along to the world politics, not just this country. You know what I'm saying? It's an agenda at hand, and they used us to get this agenda across. The BLM, the Antifa, the riots, you know what I'm saying, the racism that they're using, you know what I'm saying? They're using all of this stuff for excuses, because how much racism is it out there when you see so many black people prospering? You know what I'm saying? In different categories. You got people that get on the airports, you got people owning movie studios, you got people young folks look up to like Jay-Z, who's a millionaire. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot, and it depends on what you do with yourself. It's nobody else's responsibility, especially the federal government, to help you out with anything. Which called you help your damn self. You know what I'm saying? We lazy. This new generation coming in is kind of lazy. They want handouts. When people actually put in hard work, work miles to set us free. You know what I'm saying? We scared to take it the rest of the fucking way. We want to give up now and give them the fucking power. We can't do that, dog.
No.
You know what I'm saying? I got kids out here. I got grandkids on the way, possibly. You know what I'm saying? I want to see them come up in the same country as mine.
Never seen one. Never had one.
You say what, Dad? What'd you say, Dad?
I don't know what an unemployment check looks like. Never had it.
Neither have I. I love that there's an assumption though, but let me let me speak on it.
Go ahead, Dodie.
Let me speak on Mad Militant. Now, Mad Militant, you're speaking on how first you want to say the youth, we want a handout, we want to just give up, we're lazy. We're actually working harder than the generation before us. A lot of us are working 2 and 3 jobs at a time. A lot of us are trying to pay off student loan debt so that we can apply ourselves to be better in society. A lot of us are actually trying to
give $15 an hour.
Student loan debt should be forgiven.
Say what? What you say, Tiff?
Daddy don't want us to get $15 an hour.
They don't want us to get 15 an hour. 15 an hour ain't even going to pay for you to even have your own spot without no roommates. Let's be real. There was a time when the minimum wage. Hey, Mr. Draper, for real, dog. Like, let me finish. Let me finish. Cause you love to overtalk me when you hear something you don't like, Jack. And I ain't interrupted you not one time.
It's not that it's just it ain't right.
There was a time when the minimum wage was directly tied to being able to afford a 1-bedroom apartment.
Okay. Let Tony do it, and then Dad, you can explain why you feel that way. Okay.
There was a time when the minimum wage was directly tied to being able to afford a 1-bedroom apartment. It was called an adjustment for the consumer price index. That's what it was up until the 80s. So yeah, I get it. Back in the day, you could go to school, work your way through school, have your own apartment, be just fine. I understand that ethos, but these are not the same times, because in the 80s, prices went like this. The minimum wage went like that, or wages across the board. If you were to tie the minimum wage today, if you were to tie the average minimum wage across all 50 states in this country to what you need to afford an apartment, a 1-bedroom apartment. I'm not talking about no mansion, no duplex, no condo, not trying to live lavish. We're not trying to have the most expensive things out here. We want the basics. We out here trying to afford the basics. So it's people out here that's grinding, whether they trying to be influencers. It's people out here that's actually working, Jack. If you were to tie what it'll cost to get, if you were to tie how much you need to make per hour, rather, to get a 1-bedroom apartment across the board, it will run you about $22 an hour.
I won't. He said it'll run you about $22 an hour. Let me say this: when I was at the dollar store the other day, this young man told me he got out for work at 3:30 from his other job and had to be at this job at 3:45. And I said, and I was just randomly saying it. It seemed like you got to work 2 part-time jobs just to be able to survive or have a roommate, and you can't depend on that. Dad, I want you to reply to Tony on why you feel like people don't deserve $15 an hour.
Yeah, tell me why I don't deserve 15 an hour. I'm curious.
I'm not saying you don't deserve it. I said you have to pick a job that will pay you that. Now, you go to McDonald's and Burger King and
Money Boy, I got something for your ass.
And you trying to get $15 an hour. Well, let's go back a little bit. Let's go back to the 70s and 80s. A burger would cost you $1.50 by the time that year rolled around. $1.50. Now, time changes, right? They pay a little bit more wages, food go up, everything goes up. So that burger that I used to pay $1.50 for, $4.80 plus tax. So now you hired everybody for $15 an hour. Now the burger is $6 and they think they're giving you a meal.
So you telling me that prices haven't already gone up while wages have stayed the same? Prices already gone up, man. It's not no excuse. It's reality, Jack. I'm speaking on what I'm saying. Like, yeah.
But I'm just saying, that's what's going to happen when everybody at an entry-level job start making $15 an hour. Everything that company sells is going to go up. And they
Actually, it won't. Actually, it won't, and I got proof. Actually, it won't, and it won't, and I have physical evidence.
Don't get a job, and you got 3 kids to feed, and you got a mortgage. That company, Burger King, McDonald's, and those things was not designed for the feed their family.
Actually, when it was implemented, when the federal minimum wage was implemented, that's what its intention was.
So you can just depend on yourself.
That's what the intention was.
I'm not saying you don't deserve 15. I'm saying the consequences behind that is going to cost everybody.
I wouldn't pay my $15 if I owned a business. Well, if I couldn't afford to pay my employees enough to where they could live on their own, I don't need to be in business, Jack. If you too broke, just say so.
Everything goes up, my friend.
Everything goes up, but I got it. But I have proof of what happens when everybody makes a decent wage.
Let's let Matt.
More money to get that product from A, B, C, and D.
Let's let Matt.
Everything is up.
Let's let Matt chime in real fast. Matt, you got anything to say about this?
I mean, $15 an hour sounds great, but I don't think he's actually getting what your pops is saying. You know what I'm saying? As far as everything else is going to have to go up if that pay rate goes up. How you gonna have supply and demand if, you know what I'm saying, it ain't gonna be enough. Eventually, it's gonna be a domino effect going backwards, or they're gonna have to go forward. You know what I'm saying? It wouldn't make sense. And it's like people want $15 an hour from these certain people, but we still not talking about building our own businesses. You still want 15 hours from these motherfuckers, who you calling racist.
Let me just ask
I'm calling them racist, and damn it, they need to pay me what I'm worth, man. Militant. First off, you want to talk, and not everybody's an entrepreneur. Who that's the problem with. That's the problem with
all of us ain't entrepreneurs. All of us ain't
entrepreneurs. So it's like the ones who are. So it's like the ones who are, and this is something that we don't want to talk about. The managers to make the same list. Yo, money boy, that's not the point. You're completely missing the point. What I'm trying to say is the point of raising the minimum wage is to make it catch up to what has already happened. A lot of the high prices and hyperinflation that's happened, it's come from massive deregulation and price speculation on Wall Street. It's come from that. It's not the fry cook who just wants to make ends meet. You know, it's not the person who's trying to pay off their student debts. And it's like you say, it's funny because it's like y'all say, okay, educate yourself so that you can make more. And then on the flip side, when somebody does educate you, like, well, it shouldn't be free. My whole thing about this is y'all want to talk about how people make excuses and I wouldn't pay my employees enough to make money. Like, come on, Jack. Like,
which call you making excuses because you're trying to overtalk. At this moment, you're talking to a guy. Hold on, let me finish. You're talking to a guy who quit his minimum wage job in a profession that you can't go to school for. You know what I'm saying? I'm an auto detailer. They was paying me minimum wage. I quit my shit and started my fucking own with $1 and a fucking dream. And I make money. You know what I'm saying? This is going on right now. Well, it ain't going on now because shit is so fucked up out here by this bullshit that's coming out your mouth. Who got everybody else's brain fucked up? Y'all destroying people's lives while you think you building something. You know what I'm saying?
I'm destroying your lives.
Why is this country upside down? The money ain't here that was here 2-3 years ago.
Well, the money ain't here.
You talking to somebody who is running their own thing, and I'm telling you, the money ain't here like it was 2-3 years ago. You know what I'm saying? And this is on ground. You can talk how you want, but this is on ground zero. This is what we're feeling on ground zero for real.
I'm speaking from ground zero.
But the direction that you're talking about, look across the world. It never worked nowhere. Even your president. Even your president had this.
That's what I'm saying. We've tried the trickle down neoliberal way. We've tried that way. We've tried the gig economy. The gig economy ain't working. But you want to blame an idea
Create
not,
your own.
it's not working. It's not working because our households ain't working no more.
The households ain't working.
The households ain't working no more. They broke up the households and it's breaking up everything else along the way.
Hold on.
You get
Dad,
your house
say
built
that
right.
again.
You get. I said,
Hold on, Dad. Hold on,
broke up
Dad. Say that again.
I said, why don't we get our own stuff, our own companies? Why is it every time we go somewhere we need something, a white man got to be standing there to give it to us? Why can't we have our own banks, our own stuff?
But niggas got $200 for Jordans and shit.
Mm-hmm.
That's funny. That's funny that you mentioned that because I don't even rock Jordans. That's hilarious that you mentioned that.
Shoes like
$135. I'm trying to come out with 3 pair at least. I ain't spending no $200 on no damn shoes.
Well, you talking to somebody who don't live like that. I'm speaking from.
But the people that you're speaking up for are those kind of people.
It doesn't mean that they don't deserve a better quality of life. That doesn't mean that they don't deserve a better quality of life. Why is it that we're saying poverty is a character flaw? That's the wrong paradigm, man.
Here's a main problem that we don't really address. Promiscuity. Well, our women are already pregnant 2 or 3 kids.
Oh my God!
And as far as fucking whatever we want, we need to take more control over our life.
Well, that's why I'm pro-choice, Mr. Draper.
Because every time you're looking for a good woman, she got 2 or 3 kids. Or a man, he got 2 or 3 kids. But he ain't with the woman. We need to look at us, make a change within us.
Can we talk about how Mad Militant has the perfect ASMR voice? Like the perfect calm voice. I don't care how mad or he don't disagree. Like go on, Mad. Say something again.
But I'm gonna work with what I got.
What you want me to say? Like I said, I wasn't trying to get your channel knocked down. But if you go check out my channel, you see what mad means. You know what I'm saying? Because my delivery is a whole lot different.
Really?
I'm tired of this bullshit. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot.
I don't need the government.
And the thing is, and I know you are. That's why I'm coming in talking the way I'm talking. You got a whole lot of knowledge. So we got to learn how to put this stuff together for understanding. There's no future as far as we going back and forth.
I'm going to sub to your channel. I'm going to sub to your channel right now.
Man known as Bunchy Carter's made this explanation. You can't beat white capitalism with black capitalism because regardless, it's still capitalism and it's still exploitation. And if you know who Bunchy Carter is, which I hope you know who he is.
But what
I live and getting paid. Exploitation is somebody using you for what you can do, and you don't get your cut.
And we're not
There's
thinking
still
about
exploitation.
They got our root corrupted.
I don't see your channel. I typed in Mad Militant News like on here. I don't see it.
It got to be spelled the same way as far as the D's in the capitals.
I did. Look. Oh, all caps. Okay. All right. Go ahead, y'all. I'm sorry.
So, like I said, a wise man known as Bunchy Carter, or was it Fred Hampton? Regardless, it was a Panther who said it.
Look at check out Money Boy's comment. Capitalism has no color.
Hold on there.
You know what I'm saying? Capitalism has no color.
The point is, regardless of, okay, so that he basically making my point. Regardless of whether it's a white business owner or a black business owner, you can't beat exploitation that way. The way that it works, the way that it
separate everything.
We separate every. It was separated before we even decided to put a name on it. It's not like we're separating it. Think about it. Okay, let's break it down.
I don't understand.
You got just like you got black church and white church. When we created our churches, we weren't saying this is going to be a black church. We created our churches because we couldn't fellowship with them.
You got
you see what I'm saying? It wasn't like separated ourselves on purpose. What you talking about?
And they turned me around at the door. It was a white church. Have you ever got turned around at the door?
Hey, you better ask. What was that? That big church. Shoot, that white dude. That
Joel Osteen. That's the
Joel Osteen when he turned down all them people from that hurricane or that storm or something.
I really don't know why he did that. That could not have helped. But my point is, we tend to gravitate.
It's still exploitation, money boy.
God We
Money
serve
boy
God
Trey.
a lot different than white people do. The majority of white people just read from a book and they sing. Like they may have a piano, may have an organ, I don't know. But we worship God a whole lot different. We're just different.
I know you didn't get on my live and say worship like you do in real life. That is worship. We don't worship God. We worship God.
Let me ask you something. Let me give you an example about the government need to get out of certain.
Oh, you want me to put his channel?
Like healthcare, single payer, bad idea. I'm explaining.
Oh, it's a bad idea. Talk to
in
folks in Canada. Talk to folks in Scandinavia and see how bad of an idea it is.
We got 4 service stations on one corner. They gonna be competing for you. They're gonna lower their prices to drag your bloody down. If you got a single player, he can charge you money, man. He can tell you what you gonna pay per month.
Let me put his. Let me put his.
So let me guess. You also. Where's the solution over shout matches on YouTube? Hey, Link.
Money boy. I believe in Jesus. Please be respectful. And I'm posting mass channel and chat. Go ahead, Tony.
All right, so Link, here's my solution. My solution is a collective community-based approach, co-ops. Basically, everybody makes about the same. That way, everybody's equally invested. It's been proven scientific, Mr. Draper. It's been proven scientifically that whenever people
sorry. Go ahead. Sorry, I turned down. Go. What was that?
It's been proven. I'm giving an answer to Link with the full ones. It's been proven when everybody's equally invested in something, they're more apt to try to make it work. That's how a co-op basically works. That is a socialist solution. Now, with that being said, people.
And we work for different people. And you telling me the masses should make the same amount of money? Is that what you're saying? They work. There are co-ops up here that work just fine. And the thing is, everybody's equally invested. You trying to tell me how much you make?
Everybody's equally invested. And what happens is people are more likely to show up on time. People are more likely to work hard. People are more likely to handle.
Right there is what the government wants you to be, and that is at a certain level, everybody's the same.
No. Did I say anything about government intervention? Did I say? I said a community. I said a community-based solution. That was my answer to Link 1111. That was my answer. My solution is. Hold on.
Is going to work together and get paid the same amount of money in their community.
They will be equally invested. It will be equity across the board. People are employed. People are making the same. That's how it works. And it's been proven to work.
Them people make all the money that they can. And they give to whatever charities they want to.
It works at the corporate level. That's all I'm saying. The executives, they decide that each of them are going to make a certain amount.
If I drive a Mercedes-Benz and I bought it, and you saying that I shouldn't have it because you don't have it.
No, I didn't say that. I didn't. I did not say that.
That's basically
you're misrepresenting my point. My point is the answer to Link with the 4 ones. It said the answer would be community-based and backed solutions. A community-based solution would be if you had co-ops, just like they did during the days of the Panthers. It worked in LA. If we had our own breakfast programs again, if we had our own food soup kitchen programs, if we had our own after-school programs, that is the best way it will work out. It's not the problem is everybody's falling into the me first paradigm. That's the problem. See, the problem is, and you got this too. My pops told me this. He said that my generation dropped the ball when it came to the advancement of our community.
What? No, I don't believe that.
My dad is a boomer. He said because what happened was when everybody started going to college, and there's nothing wrong with going to college. The problem is they didn't take their skills back the community. Instead, they went out and got their own, living among folks thinking that white was right.
No,
He said
the era that dropped the ball had to be between like 75 and 90, I would believe, the crack era.
And that's the era my dad's talking about.
Because everything that you speak about that we need in the community comes from that point which broke the family structure. All that stuff that you're talking about won't happen correctly if you don't build back the family structure first.
That's right. Nothing else is going to work. That's why I was mentioning before about having all these children and no daddies in the house. And it just ain't gonna work unless we get back to the basics. And I asked Tiffany, if she said I'm pregnant and she don't have a husband, there's a problem. And that's just an actor, because I know it takes a family structure to do this. A man in a home to teach his kids, and a woman learn and nurture. We've got to get back to the basics.
Okay, and what's the backbone behind that? In order to even be a good head of household, what do you need? You need a way of income to provide for said family that you want to have.
I mean, what's the point of bringing up Black Wall Street and all these other places when we knew that the root was family structure back then from what we're seeing now? You know what I'm saying? You can't have nothing that you're talking about without building back the family structure. And that means the black man and black woman got to sit down and hash out these fucking differences.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? We battling each other. They got us battling each other, and then battling racism and all this shit ain't nothing but fucking distractions, and distractions make excuses. You keep
I don't think
come up with
racism is necessarily a distraction. I think racism is why we can't get along. They take one and they set against the other. If you believe in the Willie Lynch letter, if you believe in the Willie Lynch letter, that was the program put in place. The point is, I'm trying to say is you're complaining about the lack of family structure. You're complaining about the lack of family structure. You know, I don't wake up every day. I don't wake up with a chip on my shoulder against a black woman. I don't wake up with a chip on my shoulder wanting to kill somebody that looks like me in my community.
Okay, let me interject this right quick. You may not wake up with a chip on your shoulder against the black woman, but the black woman has been drilled in her head that you ain't shit.
Well, that just means I'm gonna take a page out of y'all book. That just means
the black man is lazy, he don't work, he don't care about shit, he don't want nothing. And when a woman gets successful, she goes and chooses a white man, and vice versa.
Well, all I'm saying is my attitude towards my black woman is one of, okay, you're angry, but it's because there's things that I've done that probably let you down. It goes both ways. You would talk like, okay, like Mad Militant was talking about black woman, you sit down and have a conversation. And that's going to be a tough conversation. That's a conversation that involves both sides of taking accountability. You know, the woman taking accountability for her transgressions and the man taking accountability for his. If I'm the man, I had to say, okay, people that look like me, a lot of us out here making these families, these broken we out here creating broken families. I'll admit that. But at the same time, I'm like, okay, so how do we fix it? Instead of this pissing contest.
And the problem is not us. You working too hard. If you said that you accept that, that's you taking accountability. If the other side want to take accountability for nothing will get healed. That's something that they got to do amongst themselves. You know what I'm saying? That's a devil on their side. We can show them, and they might listen. But as you see, listening on their side ain't working at this time. You know what I'm saying? They loud and outrageous, most of them. I'm not saying all of them, but that small group.
I've never had a negative experience. I've been fortunate to never have a negative experience with a black woman. Everybody, let me explain. No, I've dated. I've been with a lot of black women. Now I'm gonna explain this. Every black woman I've come across has, especially like in the professional world, has pointed me in the right direction as to how to get ahead. Every black woman I've come across has at the very least made sure that I was okay. If I was feeling down, they told me to pick my chin up. Okay. Black women have been invaluable as far as helping me get to where I am right now. Whether they be co-workers, acquaintances, friends, neighbors, whatever. That's what I've had. So
man, I can't say the same right now, but until now, I got a good woman, and it took me a long time to get that. And she was already through with the game, through with the cheating, through with the hurting, you know. So it took me a long time.
Let me interject real fast and just say the pinned. I'm gonna keep this up here so y'all know that the pinned comment is that of Mad Militant News's channel that he did a video with Moneyboy Trey. As soon as we get off of here, make sure y'all go check that out. Leave that a like for that. All right, go ahead, Tony.
And I will be uploading some more videos.
As far as Mad Militant has spoken on how there are black billionaires. You see black athletes, you see black people with money on TV now. And he had also mentioned
on TV.
Mr. Draper, let me finish.
And I'm gonna tell you why right quick, please. You got the people that, let's say, communist China. Okay, and then you got the basketball player, King James. He will not tell the truth.
Who?
He will not, King James.
Jordan didn't tell the truth either.
Yeah,
Kobe didn't tell the truth either. I'm not looking to them for an example. I was trying to make a point about how this dude.
Go ahead, Tony.
All right, I was trying to make a point about how when Mr. Militant said you got black billionaires, millionaires, etc. You ever heard of media fronting? You know how the media likes to do things. At first, they portray us as animals.
You know what?
And then what they'll do is when we start to fight back and start to advocate for policies that will help us out, they say, "Oh well, you know, this person looks like you and he has billions of dollars." You know, and the hilarious thing about it is, and a lot of conservatives fall for that. Me, I'm self-educated. I don't subscribe to anything the media is talking about. I might be left of center, I'm not even left of center, far left. I might be far left, but I don't watch MSNBC, CNN, Fix News, whatever. I don't watch that because they don't tell the whole story. I get my information from independent news sources.
So that means you telling me you halfway, because if you don't know how to watch them and pull the truth out of their lies, because you got to go look some of this stuff up. You don't never believe exactly what they say. You go punch this stuff up and do your own research. You know what I'm saying?
That's the point I'm making.
I'm self-taught too. You know what I'm saying?
They'll put a story out. They'll put a story out, and I already know it's half the story. So I look it up on my own. I figure out, okay, they're not telling the whole truth. That's why when Mr. Drake was talking about Cuba, that's what I was saying about Cuba. They're not telling the whole story. You know.
I mean, but for a guy his age, what make you think that he don't know the whole story?
I'm not saying he don't know the whole story.
That's from his time frame. As far as
what I'm saying is a lot of folks they keep going by what the history books in this country are telling us. Like a lot of my information comes from.
So basically, you don't know what communism is. You fought.
Oh, I know what communism is. I'm just not afraid of it.
You fought for this country for freedom, but you're speaking for communism. This is a depressing day. This is a depressing day in this country. Yes, you are, sir.
I'm speaking for communism.
Yeah, and I believe I heard you. Wasn't you on Tommy Sotomayor's?
No, I was never on. Oh hell no, I was never on his show. That man hates like one of the callers the black community.
I can't see myself equal. Like they build these tract of homes and everybody got the same car, everybody got the same house, everybody got the same job. That shit's just ridiculous.
If they hated it that much, they would leave.
I was like, no, can't do it.
Because remember, in the 80s, Castro was kicking people out who wanted to leave. If you wanted to, and there's people that left, but you do your research, and you see they weren't necessarily the most. They didn't have the most shining resumes either. You know, so this same government that both of y'all had, this same government openly accepted people who would go out of their way to try to discredit who they say their enemies were. You know, like look at just the way that they just foreign intervention. I don't agree with that. I damn sure don't agree with that. But what I'm saying is I believe in domestic policies that fix a lot of the infrastructure, that fix healthcare, that basically treat it so that education is properly taught instead of what they're doing now. And we'll both agree what's going on now is a lot of bullshit. We just disagree on the direction we need to go.
Do you like the government opening the borders and flooding us with Mexicans and people from around the world sneaking in and then bringing COVID in?
The borders were open before, and nobody said it was a crisis once upon a time. They didn't say this. They didn't have this issue. It's funny that the same descendants of immigrants on Ellis Island, they have the same issues with people coming in through the border. Texas at one time was a part of Mexico, bro.
This is a different time, a different era.
But it's the same issue. But it's the same issue. So you're putting so you'll say that is one group of immigrants better than another to you?
There's some bad people out there, dude.
There was some bad people coming in through Ellis Island. I guess you never heard about the Sicilian Mafia then, right?
Like you're thinking about, the island we have to bring people in, and we should bring people in. You're bringing the wrong people. Because back then, nobody wanted to destroy America. They was coming to...
Ain't nobody, all I'm saying is, ain't no immigrant ever took my job. That's never happened to me. No immigrant ever took my job. So if somebody wants to come over here, and if they want to work, and they ain't causing no drama, no trouble, I ain't got a problem with them.
Wait, hold on. Say that again, Dad.
Let me see if I can help him right quick with this. Everybody come on in and we're going to sing, come by.
People did it before. It was no problem then.
This is a different time.
Yeah, because the immigrants look like the folks in charge. That's why it was okay.
Like that. You cannot do that. And let me tell you something. You need to listen to this real quick. As soon as the black man wake up and stop being used by Republicans and Democrats, as soon as we wake up and stop voting for their ass, they got the Mexicans. So what do you think they're doing now? They're getting their base together. So they don't need us anymore. And then no matter how many of us vote, it ain't going to make a difference. Because you got about 3 million more illegals up in here. They don't want a driver's license. They don't want ID of any kind. You don't have to even come down there. You can vote absentee. It doesn't matter. You're not a citizen. You just vote anyway. It don't matter. Because they know they don't when the Democrats open the damn door.
Actually, it's I was going to mention that you talking about your issues with like voter IDs because I live up in Maryland, right? So,
wait a minute.
Hold up. Our vote rules are like this.
Wait a minute. Joe Biden lives there, right?
Say what?
Your president, Joe.
My president.
Biden lives in Maryland.
No, he doesn't. He lives in Delaware.
Okay, then. Okay, fine. Okay, I'm not mistaken.
Right next door, though. Same difference.
Okay, big difference because you know what? They got stricter voter IDs there where Joe lived than they do over there when they're trying to change the voting laws when they kept cheating. That's another subject. But my point is, You cannot be for open borders. Please tell me you're not.
For open book, well, okay, they had open borders before. Even okay, I'm gonna explain something. You used to be able to go. You know what's making people undocumented? You know what's. Hold on. People are actually coming over legally, but their visas are expiring. That's what's making them undocumented.
To protect us. The Democrats did everything they could to stop that man from putting the border up. Everything they could.
He had a majority in both houses. How could they stop him? He had the house. In his first 2 years, his first 2 years, he had the House and the Senate and the Supreme Court that was going to go with everything he said.
Say a few minutes ago, the Democrats and the Republicans are full of crap. Because when you had a chance to do it, you didn't do it. So don't think that I'm just all Republican. I'm for right. And I don't give a damn if you're Democrat or Republican. I'm for what's right for the people of the United States of America. And I always will be. And I'm against wrong. And when Biden opened up that and he opened the floodgates, people are hurting, people are dying, people are losing their livelihoods because of undocumented people.
Actually, Obama and Biden, they deported more people than Trump. The numbers prove it. They deported more people than Trump. In fact, the undocumented immigrants were more afraid of Obama than they were of Trump.
Who deported more people than what Trump? Biden?
Obama deported more people than Trump.
Yeah, yes, he did. But let's be fair about it. They don't show people in cages when Trump was
I know Obama had the cages. I know Biden still got the cages.
Don't you know
I don't agree with it. I don't agree with cages and the deportation regardless of who's doing it.
I agree with it because a lot of those dudes are pedophiles and rapists. I was working with one that got deported, and you can't tell who the hell they are.
They just let them go. They're not gonna let us go. They're more strict on us as the United States citizen than they are on somebody who don't even belong here.
All I'm saying is,
they're not just going to send you out of here for no reason.
That boy been deported 7 times. 7 times kicked out of our country. He came back and he killed that woman.
So you agree with a wall that costs all this money?
Yep.
Okay, so if you want to have border security, a wall is not the answer then. You build more checkpoints. That's what you do.
They spend literally billions of dollars in waste money. They're spending over $3 million a fucking day to guard the wall with the stuff on the ground.
Or they could just take those same materials and build more checkpoints. You build a checkpoint. That way that creates a job. You build checkpoints. And that way you can more efficiently turn people back. So when you turn them back, because there's portions of the border that are just impassable because of the river and all that.
That causes more corruption, man. That causes more corruption. Man, because you're gonna have defects. You're gonna have defects at the checkpoints. The stuff's still gonna come through.
Wait, hold on. Let's let Mad Moody. What are you saying, Matt?
I was saying.
I mean, not Mad Booty. I'm sorry, that's another guy. Let's let Mad chime in.
I said, the checkpoints might cause more corruption because you're gonna have defects. Who's gonna let these people through? I'm just thinking strategic. You know what I'm saying? You're a military guy. You know people are defect for their money. You know what I'm saying? Things will still come in. Put up a wall with 1 or 2 checkpoints, 2 or 3. That's a lot different.
A wall costs more money though. We're in the business of saving money, right?
It pays for itself in the long run.
You think it'll pay for itself? Well, they figured out how to sort through that joker. So I'm saying if you wanna have border security, what you do is you have a more streamlined and robust system of checkpoints. That way, even if somebody might get through one, somebody else might check them like, hold on, your papers ain't right. And then what you do is
time out. It's called You fought for us, all right? You know what I'm saying? You served for us. The open border right now has all these Mexicans coming in. All kind of people
and a lot of those Mexicans served alongside me. And damn it, I serve with them any day.
Brother, you are United States citizen. They plan on locking you down in the next few weeks. But they can run free. What is wrong with you right now? They're gonna lock us down, but have the border wide open for these people just to come in and have enjoy some time in your country. You down for that?
All I'm saying is what I'm down for. I'm down for a policy that works better. I mean, in California, they got checkpoints, and it's fine.
Policy was already there.
Okay, so you make more of them. You make more checkpoints. Anywhere that you don't have natural barriers like rivers, mountains, etc.
I'm listening.
What
is this guy talking about checkpoints?
Checkpoints work better than walls. That's all I'm saying.
Wait a minute. Let me ask you a question. Does Nancy Pelosi have a checkpoint in her fucking front yard? No. She has a wall around her mansion. And she's got live bodyguards there with guns. Any one of them senators, congressmen have a home, they got a wall around that damn thing. And that's Maxine Waters too. And she doesn't even live in her district. So I don't want to hear somebody say a wall don't work. I got a fence around my house. Why? It keeps out unwanted people. And it's how we people come in. Where's your common sense, man?
Oh my God. Let's see what the comments are talking about. But no, what I'm saying is there's a reason that checkpoints work. Oh, somebody said the Mexican I served with were Mexican American. No, a lot of them were undocumented. The military let them in under the condition that when they're done their service, they get citizenship. And I think if you want to come over here, you want to serve, I ain't got a problem with it because there's a lot of people that live here that ain't trying to serve.
Because you come the right way, you serve in the army, you become legal, and you're good. That's my point. Put the wall up. Stop the motherfuckers who've been coming over here trying to kill us. Please.
Man,
that's all I'm asking.
You're gonna have the cartel in a little bit ripping through these fucking hoods.
And when you go to Jamaica, I went to my own neighborhood.
How about we'll see? Because
I seen one 3 months ago. Air dude out, air the state trooper out on the highway. They don't talk about that on the news.
The white people were there, the blacks came, a lot of Mexicans are there. And they get a business way before we do. Way before we get anything.
Man, they brought in enough fentanyl in the last 3 months to wipe out the whole New York City.
Slow. This is our mid-cat, man.
I'm watching the guy
IQ testing in the military is no longer needed.
This dude didn't have hole in his face. He was a Mexican guy with a brand new fucking Lexus.
With a Lexus.
I mean, goddamn.
Well, why don't you get your own Lexus then, Mr. Draper? Since you out here pocket watching.
You better tell him, Daddy. Tell him.
You out here pocket watching.
I got my own contract with the Postal Service.
Man, that is your elder. I find that disrespectful.
My daddy got 2 Mercedes and a bunch of other cars.
That's what's up. So why he mad about Mexicans with a Lexus then?
No,
because that was in the 90s when they start trickling in.
It was in the 90s.
Brand new Escalade. I got worked my way up from nothing, from a car, 67 Mustang, all the way up to where I'm at. My thing is, they come over here and our government give them anything they want. They get companies started with no problem. They get brand new cars with no driving license. And if you don't believe it, I can take you to the dealers right now. They will tell you.
I'm not disputing your experience. What I'm saying is, okay, you think the government's out here giving them money? Okay, they just giving it to them or what? Because In order to get benefits, you need a social security number.
Say that again, Dad.
I said they wanted to give you $700 and they wanted to give the Mexicans $1,200.
Oh yeah.
How long ago was that? Did you forget?
Yeah, that's right.
No, this dude
I got 1,200.
This dude's setting us up for 5 eggs a month. That's what he doing.
5 eggs a month.
Yeah, 5 eggs a month. That's what they get over there. Oh, wow. That's what they get over there in Cuba. Like I said, you think you're talking good biz and you're not. You need to do more homework.
You're gonna be one broke ass over there. I don't want the same thing everybody else got. I want more.
If you just don't like it,
it's mine.
If you just don't like this country, they pulled up a plane last year. 4 years ago, it swore up and down. Trump pulled this up. If you want to leave, leave. There's plenty of other countries out there supposed to be greater than this place from the way you talk.
Wherever that shit is, wherever you want to go, where all that government control shit, go ahead. The government
that's what, instead of fucking up people's lives who was happy the way it was going. Y'all kind of people can really just haul ass. Stop fucking up everybody else's shit. Everybody don't want to think like you or nothing like that. There's countries out there that's already thinking like you. You can go join them.
I never said you to think like you. What I'm saying is, but my whole argument. Hold on.
Both of them. And my Dodge pickup truck by Laramie.
Yeah.
And this is my second new house. Actually,
my whole argument.
He lived
because I did it.
Yeah. He lived
in nice. They ain't done shit for me. And
that's why nothing's greater than America. That's why everyone comes here. That's hilarious that Mick said this shit. The point I was trying to make was
Am I lying, Jim?
Listen. My daddy lived in almost a $500,000 house. My daddy got it.
Like I ain't say he didn't. I never said he didn't.
I know, Tony, but this man gave me life, so I got to be a little biased. But go ahead, Tony.
No, the point I was trying to make, the entire ethos of my argument is that we've tried it the way the conservatives wanted it, and it has not worked. It has not worked. Everything they said would happen under socialism has happened under trickle down. Everything they said would happen as far as bread lines, as far as job losses, as far as people being broke, as far as everything going to the lowest common denominator has already happened. So I'm just saying, let's try a new direction. As far as our community is concerned, as far as our community is concerned, left of center is right.
Hold on, Daddy. Go ahead, Tony. Hold on.
So as far as our community is concerned, left of center is right. When I mentioned co-ops before, I was drastically interrupted.
You need to go right to center.
Right of center hasn't worked. Right of center is dead wrong. So I've named numerous examples as to why.
Right.
And I've named numerous examples as to why. And then what you did was you automatically went to traditionalism in the state of the community. Mick, I do have a job actually, so try again, goofball. So like I said, as far as see me, I'm good. I just know that everybody like me isn't. That's the whole reason behind why I believe what I believe. If I was selfish, I would definitely be agreeing with both of y'all.
Spread it out, right? To people that haven't even earned it, to people that don't even.
The people who haven't earned it.
For rich people to just give their money away.
I never said rich people need to give their money away. What I said was we need to have it so that everybody can have a fair shake. That's it. A fair shake. That's it. That's all I didn't say we need to like decapitate billionaires in Central Park. Come on, man. Like y'all really think that's what I'm about.
But we supposed to share with all these new people coming in.
Come on. I didn't say we need to share with them all coming in. I said we need a streamlined path to citizenship.
He's on Martha's Vineyard. He's having a COVID get together party.
I swear we already had that.
What a path to citizenship. It needs to be a little bit more streamlined than the way it is. Because what
they made up some bullshit.
Saying,
that shit was always in place.
Shame tactics, huh? What do you mean shame tactics are? No, the point I was making was we need a more streamlined path to citizenship, because what you were talking about the borders and how it's wide open. Once upon a time, the reason that all I'm saying is the reason that we have undocumented immigrants is because a lot of people come over here, and a lot of them come here on legit papers. What happens is that visas run out, and because if
right now, I can't hear anything.
There he goes.
Put up some
there he goes again.
God check and some shit. I can't get past that. I really. If somebody's gonna come in here with a dirty bomb and they gonna level the city, with all the Democrats and Republicans gonna be standing there with their thumb up their ass, looking stupid.
A dirty bomb. A dirty bomb. That's what's going to happen.
Dirty bomb. Do you know what a dirty bomb is?
Yeah, I know what a dirty bomb is. It's a radiological weapon.
And it's called the sum of all fears. The sum.
I saw that. I was 11 years old when I saw that movie. I know what movie you're talking about.
Watch that, and if you do, then you'll understand why it won't take nothing for them to sneak something in here and blow our ass up, because they do not like us. They said death to America. And one of the Arab guys is going to come in here through the water and they're going to kill us. Because everybody is nice, man. I'm telling you.
Well, I'll see it. Well, I believe it when I see it. How about that? Because, again, before I was, interrupted, my point was,
it's like they did. Now,
I'm condescending.
They knocked the Twin Towers down. Check out how stupid the Americans are. Are you ready? The people who learn how
it's because one agency didn't want to share information with the other agency. That's why the towers got knocked down.
Wait, hold on. Say that what that?
I said, stupid America, so nice to these Iranians and these people that want to kill us. They don't necessarily have to be Iranians. They could be Americans. Okay, here we go. When they knocked the Twin Towers down, those people learned how to fly in America. Mm. And the instructors did not teach them how to land. The guy said he don't need to learn that.
Mm. Right there in Florida.
So they knocked the damn buildings down. And we sitting there looking stupid. So don't think the government didn't know this shit was happening. They did.
Yeah, they knew it was happening. One agency didn't share intel with the other agency. That's all that was. That was other people at the top that dropped the ball.
Some shit bad.
You know, who you gonna blame? In fact, there was even a memo. There was a memo put out by outgoing President Clinton.
When you see it,
to y'all should know communism don't work.
That
our Mick is too dense and too intellectually cowardly to come up here and to actually discuss it. So, like I said, yeah, the outgoing president warned W, said, look, man, I got to set up to go get the people that are trying to eradicate us from off the damn map. You know, Al Qaeda, we need to go get them. I got to set up in Afghanistan already. Let's go get them. So what happened? It was that memo was completely ignored for like 8 months. And then the towers in the Pentagon gets hit. All of a sudden.
The distractions. You got to look underneath a lot of stuff. You got to look underneath a lot of stones, bro.
I'm saying follow the money. There was about $2 billion that went missing from the Pentagon. In the side of the Pentagon where people knew about it, that's the side that got hit.
What about the ones hey, you know what's funny about it? The sleeper cells, where they can come into our land and buy homes and go to schools and do all this shit until they get the word kill. When they get that word, they can be there 10, 15 years, regular people. And all of a sudden, they go out and blow up some shit. Or they shoot up some shit. Sleeper cells, man. For real.
I know about sleeper cells. I know about, they warned us about all that shit. Listen.
They're out here. If somebody, let me tell you this. If I told you, man, I don't like you, and when I see your ass, I'm going to blow you up. Would you invite me into your realm of life? Nope. Into your house to party with me?
Nope.
No, I'm gonna handle you right there, actually.
Why would you open the door and let the motherfuckers come in here?
So I can handle them. That's why. That's the only reason I'm gonna open the gate.
This is America. You're a very intelligent man. I hear you. But you're just on the wrong track here and there.
I'm on the wrong track. I'm looking at it. I'm at, like I said, like man said, I'm at ground zero. And my perspective.
That's all I'm saying.
You got it. You absolutely got it. You just got to open up your vision a little bit wider and look under those stones. Everything that you think is conspiracy, look under it. You know what I'm saying? A lot of this stuff, you know what I'm saying, is real, and you missing a whole lot of points. You got main pieces, but you're not looking under the stones. You know what I'm saying? There's a bigger agenda. This is the second time of the World Trade Center we're going through now because it didn't work that first time when they attempted.
The first time when they tried the car bomb in '93.
No, listen to what I'm saying. Well, this is the third time then. This pandemic is the third time they're trying to attack this country to shut us down. And speaking, and they're trying to bring in. They've been trying to bring in communism and socialism since JFK and Martin Luther King. You know what I'm saying? We see we see the pattern.
You know, it's funny that you mentioned that, right? You said MLK, right? You know that MLK considered himself a socialist.
Yeah, he didn't know no better at that point.
You saying he didn't know no better?
He figured out a lot at the end of towards the end of his life, and he was trying to tell us if you listen to his videos.
Well, hold on.
He figured out he was taking us down the dark road.
When he mentioned that was right around the time that LBJ hated him, Jackie Onassis hated him. Well, Jackie Kennedy hated him. A lot of the white liberal media establishment had turned on him.
The same thing they doing to BLM right now. For Joe Biden to get on TV a couple of weeks ago and say communism is bad, and BLM to be a socialist, Marxist, communist organization was a smack in their damn face. We relived history again, and y'all still don't wake up to see it.
But you're against BLM, so why would it matter that to you?
Yes. Yeah, I mean, did you hear what I said? What they are?
Let me interrupt real quick. Let me interrupt real quick. Thank you, Harry, for your donation. Any donation gets a shout out. Thank you so much.
He said Dr. King was a communist, led his people into the fire. I think Dr. King, at that time, he had an idea. The issue was he had people around him that didn't have his best interest or the movement's best interest. Because initially, it wasn't even about going into their business establishments and sitting down having ice creams. It was about having equal access to what we pay taxes on. That's all it was. It wasn't about being able to go to their movie theaters, their skating rinks, their drive-ins, none of that. That's what the civil rights movement was about. It was about us having equal access to what we pay taxes on. Simple as that. But the movement got hijacked, as every movement gets hijacked. It got hijacked by people who wanted to do performative allyship, if you know what that means. Performative allyship. It was hijacked by people that just wanted to be in the spotlight. And what ended up happening was, you know, he realized what was going on, began to speak out against it, especially when he saw what happened to Malcolm. After that, his security detail gets pulled. Like, I know Jesse. Everybody knows Jesse's a snake, man. Jesse's the one who got him killed.
I told you a while ago.
Are you sure, or did they tell you that?
No, they didn't tell me that. I just put the pieces together from the information I gathered. Because right before he got killed, he removed Jesse as his number 2 because he knew Jesse was trying to snake.
Dad.
What I got?
Say that again. Ask that question again.
Was Jesse on the same balcony with Martin Luther King?
Yeah, it was the same balcony. He just didn't have the same position as what I'm saying. He didn't have the same clout in the organization that he had prior to. And all of a sudden, he points out and he knows where the shot came from. Come on, man. The original story, Jesse said he was in the hotel when the shots rang out.
My question is, why didn't the shooter shoot everybody up there? To make a statement. Why did they just shoot one person? So my
because the other people around him were co-conspirators. That's why they were co-conspirators. That's why Jesse didn't get shot. Because if Jesse was really about the movement, he would have died too. But you see, Jesse still around.
Him getting shot. That was my fault. When I got old enough to understand and read, I'm thinking Jesse wanted the spotlight. He wanted to be more.
Yeah. I'm not disputing that at all. I'm not disputing that at all. He's the biggest opportunist ever. I have never disputed that claim at all. Jesse Jackson is an opportunist. Al Sharpton is a perm-wearing opportunist.
Wait.
Yeah, I agree.
He's a perm-wearing opportunist. He never subscribed to anything that they had to say.
Just close the border. That right there will solve a lot of problems.
Close the border.
Close that damn border. Let me ask you a question. Please, be honest with me. Please, I'm begging you. If you was on the border, you was on the Texas side of that border, and people coming all through on your land, your wife is scared, your kids are scared, they're hiding in your garage, they're stealing your car, do you want something done about that?
Or I just move. I mean, that's what we do anyway, right? Isn't that what we do? Hold on, be real. Isn't that what we do? When things get a little too hot, we live in that instead of fixing it. What do we do? We move, right? Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong now. When it gets too hot in our own communities, instead of trying to do something about it, what do? We pack up and we move, right?
See, man.
Am I wrong? Isn't that what we do?
That's right.
We have a right to move in our country. You know what I'm saying? But we shouldn't be moving for some outside.
Somebody gonna stop this shit now.
So you want to talk about that? We ain't talking about gentrification. We ain't gonna talk about gentrification either. You know what I mean?
Man, you better put that. Next time you better be telling me, man, I'm for the border. I'm for the wall. I ain't gonna talk to you no more. You don't tell me that.
I mean, that's what is that not what we do in our communities? Instead of trying to fix them, we just pack up and get off the leave.
I ain't leaving.
So you ain't gonna leave. So what would you want something done about it, right? Okay. So pick up yourself by your own bootstraps, pick up the gun, and start picking them off when they come across. Something was that. If you're that concerned about it, because if you're convinced,
you don't have to kill anybody. Because it's going to be kind of hard to shoot somebody when they're coming across your border with the mama and the babies and the daddy. And they coming across and the daddy needs your car because he's tired of walking.
People have generations of taxes that pay for the security of this country. That's an insult.
It's kind of hard to try to shoot somebody like that.
Money that paid your black ass. You know what I'm saying? In the military to defend us. That's our tax money.
That problem. Put cameras up there. Put the border patrol driving through there, watching everything. What's gonna happen if they defund the police? That is fucking shit I ever heard in my life.
I never advocated for that.
Boy, my dad and grandpops is turning over in their daggone in their graves right now, boy.
Yup, I was.
Get the
$1,000. We won't buy it. Well, what about the people that bought that product that need to sell it to take care of their families and make money? You just gonna let people walk in your store and take all your stuff? I don't care if it's
I just said that if I was living on the border, I'm just saying if I was living on the border, first I wouldn't want to live on the border because that's like some of the worst. That's like one of the worst areas in the country. Even if you didn't have people crossing, it's just one of the most destitute areas in the country. I wouldn't want to be living there. I would pick up and move.
I've been there.
Simple as that. Hey, Mick, I ain't going unless you come with me.
From the people who ever want to meet. It's some damn Mexican cartels. You came from the Arabs again. How would you like for somebody to tell you, don't stop? And I'm driving a tractor trailer, don't stop. Because if you do, they're going to take your trailer, they're going to take you, and your head might wind up on that post over there.
No, Mick, come on with me.
And I know you want to be a nice guy. You want to be a giving guy. You want to be a loving person. But there's people out there that take your love and chop your fucking head off with it. Put it on camera.
I love the gross oversimplifications over the last hour and a half. I love the gross oversimplifications of my arguments. That's hilarious because I simply said I implemented a solution. I said, okay, let's have more checkpoints, and checkpoints would work. Now, Militant, hold on, let me finish because you love over talking me. You love over talking me.
Go to Canada, go to France, go to England, go anywhere where there's a country with borders. If you want to see checkpoints, but you want to see a goddamn wall, I guarantee you there's going to be walls around that country because walls work. It will keep the bad guys out and make your ass work harder to get over it.
Hey, the only reason I'm against walls is because there's one that everybody loves to
That's the question. Do you go to bed at night and leave your doors open and your windows up? Honest question. Anybody go to bed at night now and leave their windows open and doors wide open?
Nobody does that. Again, it's the oversimplification. I'm talking about immigration policy. If you want to solve the problem of people coming here undocumented, what you do is you have. Do you go to sleep at night and leave your doors open? And I'm for open borders.
Anything like that.
This dude said I'm for open borders when I clearly stated that I'm for checkpoints. And I gave my reasons as to checkpoints work. Checkpoints on a macro level.
You got border patrols down there. You got border patrols running everywhere.
Okay, so you have a checkpoint. You have people working there that say, if you want to come across, this is what you need.
They're all over the place.
Good job, Mick. Respect for Mick. He got a big stone wall with 3 big dogs.
Now, can you get that? Checkpoints won't work.
They will work. If you have somewhere and somebody working there that says, if you have X, Y, and Z. Hold on, let me finish.
What do they know? What do they know when they see the border patrol? Oh, I'm in America now. They want to see the border patrol. They don't want it hide.
If you have checkpoints,
boy, please.
If you have checkpoints, you got checkpoints, and you mention, and you have somebody at the center that says you need X, Y, and Z if you want to go through. And if they don't have them, they just turn them, and you just turn them back around. Simple as that. They get turned back around enough times, they even gonna get the paperwork.
Hold on, Daddy. Hold on. Let him rebuttal.
Seriously. Thank you, Tef. So if you have checkpoints and you have somebody at the center that says you need X, Y, and Z, you just file them in. Eventually, what's going to happen is it's going to be harder and harder for people to come here illegally. Now, when I get to this point, he likes to always try to jump in. There was a time when it was more like a revolving door, and you didn't have massive people that were here undocumented. You did not let me finish. Seriously. You did not have this problem because even if their paperwork ran out, and that's what makes a lot of these undocumented immigrants undocumented, even if their paperwork ran out, they knew that they could always go back, get the necessary documents, and then come back and work here on a work visa. Simple as that. That's the reason worse, man, Militant, because that's how I'm getting my point across. That's how it works.
You're overlooking at what's going on right now.
I'm overlooking what's going on. What's going on right now is a result of what happens when you have foreign intervention in the countries destabilizing their governments. That's why if you don't want undocumented immigrants, don't vote for politicians who like to use the military or clandestinely send money to rebels in exchange for, you know, have a money for drugs program.
Who did nobody voted for that fucking president? BLM and all the motherfuckers created momentum to get him in the motherfucker. I'm talking about I'm talking about as far back as the end of the Second World War. We've been intervening in other countries, and that's what's caused it. See, and that's what makes your message confusing. You all over the place.
I ain't all over the place. I'm streamlined. I'm straight up with it. Ever since we took out Mossadegh in Iran, we've been having problems with other people coming over here.
Who sent them back in Iran? All those emails came out. You say you overlook information. Who sent those missiles to Iran and where did they come from? Who bought them?
Oh, the Reagan.
Where did they buy them from?
That's who sent weapons to them. That was the Iran-Contra deal. I know about that. The government did that shit. Now, what I'm trying to say, hold on. What I'm trying to say is, if we had never been intervening in other countries and their bullshit, if we had never been trying to install a friendly puppet government, we would not have created the economic conditions that made it so destitute for everyday people to live that they would want to come over here. That's a fact.
In a way, yeah, I feel you a little bit there.
And no only Democrats do it on Mac. Both parties do that shit.
America stuck their nose in somebody else's country, and now those people want to cut it in.
Because we destabilize their governments to where it's unlivable in their situation. That's why. That's why I say we need to get out of this neoliberal ethos. Interventionism in foreign countries has proven to be a detriment. It's negatively affected us in the worldwide, and it's negatively affecting us here. These immigrants that are violent, that are coming over here, that's the end result. That is a symptom of a much larger problem.
Hold on, time out. You just spoke up for these motherfuckers coming in here.
I spoke up for them coming in here because of where they come from.
And these exactly. And these are the same people in our goddamn country who's changing our fucking land. We let them over here into freedom, and they decide to change the laws and look what the fuck is going on. You're changing the laws, you're changing the land.
They're trying to. I'm gonna let Mr. Draper finish because that seems.
We'll let your ass in without the proper papers. You never get there.
If we had not intervened in foreign countries years and years and years ago, it's like the check engine light. You keep ignoring the check engine light, your car eventually ain't gonna work no more. All right. So when everything from Central America to Haiti.
No, Dad, he said he's a vet.
Oh, okay.
Tony served.
So he wants our country to be overrun by people that's not here, don't run our country. Okay. And he's a vet. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm trying not to get mad. I'm trying not to get mad. Boy, that's disrespectful to the people in my family that serve. You know what I'm saying?
How about disrespecting them?
You a fucking traitor. I'm gonna call you straight out. You a goddamn traitor.
Love it. I love it.
If you're not happy with the laws of this land, stop trying to influence everybody that your way is right. Get the fuck out.
It's not right.
Straight like that. You laughing at shit, but this shit is affecting people's lives. This shit is affecting people's lives, and I'm gonna hold somebody fucking accountable for fucking with my money. All this bullshit that you speaking, yeah, that's how the fuck I'm feeling.
Getting overly emotional, dog.
No, I'm not getting overly emotional. I'm showing you what you're gonna get when you come to my goddamn channel. My name says it all.
You are overly emotional.
Now I got room to talk. I'm gonna talk. You know what I'm saying? That's some bullshit you speaking out your fucking mouth, yo. For real.
It's just because you disagree with it. That's why it's bullshit. Because you disagree with it. That's
no, I see. No, I did enough homework to see the effects of it. You haven't, evidently.
I have seen that. I have done homework to see the effects of it.
Damn, in your family to fucking to goddamn what you
over here
planning for
and
this
what
future.
we do in other countries. Simple as that. And Armit been saying the same shit. Armit, copy, shame tactics, whatever. Listen, man, Militant, real rap. Only thing I've said that our foreign intervention, again, Mr. Draper, chill. Our foreign intervention in other countries has resulted in illegal immigrants.
Hey, Tony.
What was he fighting for?
He said, why did you go into service and what were you fighting for?
To have a better life. That's why I joined the service. I joined the service because I was tired of working 5 and dime jobs. I joined the service because I was trying to go to school and not rack up student loan debt. That's why I joined.
But all of that don't make sense to me right now by what you're talking about, because you're going to be fighting for you said hold on, hear me out. You setting yourself up to fight for the rest of your fucking life by preaching what you preaching, because you don't know what socialism is, communism, or none of this.
I know what socialism is.
So you setting up your fucking family to stand in a fucking bread line. We was breaking people out of socialism and communism back in '88. You know what I'm saying? Now we trying to go into something we were breaking people out of.
I'm advocating for policy so that everybody doesn't have to potentially put themselves in harm's way and join the military so they can go to school.
You're not old enough to understand the USSR and the things that, you know what I'm saying, we broke.
And you get a lot of half-assed information from them. It's a lot of half-assed information. The USSR, they did the what you call it, the Holodomor. They did the what you call it. They did have like some of the purges. But what they also did, that was the most progressive country that ever existed in the 20th century, because black people in the 30s were going over to the USSR because they needed our skills to help build their country. And we were actually treated 10 times better than we were over here during that time. You can look that up for yourself. Now, with that being said, hold on, let me finish. With that being said, the USSR, for all of its flaws, there was at one time where their dietary caloric intake was about the same as the average American in the 70s. That was the second largest economy that grew over the entire course of its existence. It's only when you had Western intervention, Western propaganda, and the liberalization of the economy by going to things, by having a stock exchange, that you started to have all the problems that you want to talk about. They only started having their issues in the 80s. Up until that point, it was fine.
You know you're talking to people who's twice your age, right?
I know I'm talking to people that's twice my age, but the information that I have does stand. Information changed to fit the narrative at certain points. Make sure you do complete homework. It's not to fit a narrative. I looked into it because I wanted to know what the whole big deal was. I looked into it initially being against what they were talking about. I looked into it being a staunch anti-communist. By being almost like right-wing in some of my talking points, because I wanted to have proof. But then I looked into it and I'm like, well, wait a minute. If everybody has a job, if everybody has health care, if everybody has an opportunity to go to school and better themselves, what's wrong with that? Does that mean that they don't have their flaws? No, I'm not so freaking lockstep leftist that I'm gonna just like defend everything they say. But the entire conversation has been both of y'all completely misrepresenting my points. And if you don't want to believe that, like I said, I got some oceanfront property in Arizona to sell to you.
No. There's no ocean in Arizona. I already know that. So that means that what you're saying to me don't make sense to me, that my family would have to suffer in order for a certain agenda to happen.
I never said that it would have to suffer. I'm saying that for every policy that ever got put out, there's a way to make it better. Now, has the federal government done some things? Of course, as a black person in this country, I got a complicated relationship with the federal government.
But if we had enough evidence to show that we was going in the right direction before all this came in, how are you still using this for an excuse? We was going in the right direction before all this came in 8 months ago.
8 months ago. So you believe the country's moving in the right direction.
And it ain't because of no Trump, and it ain't because I'm a Trump supporter. If you use that, you're going to piss me the fuck off. Because that's what niggas do.
I never said you were.
They do everything to get themselves out of some shit. They'll use that shit to get themselves out of some shit. And I'm sick of that shit. I'm sick of fucking excuse.
This one, I wasn't mentioning Trump, Biden, Bush, Clinton.
I know. I didn't give you a chance. I'm cutting them off right there.
I'm mentioning what I'm mentioning is I'm mentioning a paradigm, which means an entire direction of what they're doing. My argument is against foreign intervention. My argument is against deregulation. My argument is against giving everything to the top. And when I say the top, I'm not talking about the business owner who's real good at what you said, car detailing, or they got a towing company, etc. I'm talking about the person who don't do nothing except wake up and they got like $20,000 in their account because of what they call investing or price speculation. That's hurting working people. You can't tell me that. It's not.
So me investing and owning my own is hurting somebody else.
I didn't say you investing. I'm talking about the Wall Street investor. I'm talking about the hedge fund manager. I'm talking about the lobbyist who wants to advocate to make it harder for you to start your own business.
Didn't Obama set that law up? Because I swear,
he did.
I swear the Pelosi put $2 million in right on Microsoft right after they did it.
Then don't tie me to Obama. You don't want me to tie you to Trump. Don't tie me to Obama. Simple as that.
I wasn't tying you. I was just asking you, isn't that what Obama did?
Yeah, and that was one of the reasons. That's one of the things I hated about him.
Yeah,
because if you don't recall, I said there were things Obama did that I was okay with, and there were things Obama did that I absolutely hated.
Hold on. Say that again, Dad.
Obama said there's only a certain amount of money a person should make. I don't agree with that.
But he also allowed, completely deregulated Wall Street too.
This is United States.
He also deregulated Wall Street. That's all I'm saying. He made it so, and deregulation caused these housing bubbles to pop.
Let me ask you a question.
It did. Tell me it didn't.
Because he did one thing right and a whole bunch of other shit wrong. Does that make him a wonderful, great person?
No. What was that one thing right that he did? I'd like to know what he did that you liked. I'm curious, actually.
Really? I'm glad you asked me that. Give me a minute. I can't think of the thing.
You can't think of the thing that he did that you liked.
No,
I'm gonna tell you what he did that I could not stand. I'm gonna tell you that.
And every time they had to go back and apply for the money, it was let me see, Trump who made it, when Obama could have. Now, so there's a lot of things that should have been done for the black man while he was in there, and he did not do it.
Of course, I'm not disagreeing with you. I already said that things Obama did and didn't do that pissed me off, and there are things that he did that I was okay with. Now, the things that he did that completely pissed me off was when he allowed
Obamacare. You had to sign it before you read it to know what was in it. They voted for something and they don't even know what's in it. And they voted and pushed it through.
This is what pissed me off about the Obamacare. It's the fact that he allowed the opposition to Swiss cheese that bill. Before that, it was a strong bill. It was completely weakened by the time it got to his desk, and he signed it anyway. He should have signed it.
He signed it anyway, and most people don't even know what they were signing up for once he signed it into play, because there's a guillotine law in the back of that motherfucker, and then you can see the order for 60,000 guillotines ordered by the United States fucking government, and then a couple of years later, then you see this pandemic going on, and you see the resistance against this J. You know what I'm saying? We better wake the fuck up. And we tired of this bullshit of goddamn just using your book logic or some goddamn crack ass shit. Keep going to use logic. Use logic and what the fuck you say.
Hey,
logic will work for you.
Stop bringing us this bullshit.
Hey, I think
the books are fucking lies. Most of these stats are fucking lies. We've been 14% for the last goddamn 40 fucking years. You know what I'm saying?
You think I believe? You really think I believe? A lot of these stats is 14%.
We have to go off of logic.
Even they've been killing us in on off site, or we ain't no 14%. I don't think we just been 14%.
Who is killing us? Who is killing us more on site? Them or us?
Say that again.
I said off site. I said the killings you're not gonna see in the news every day. Because one of us kill each other. Yeah, it's page 8, but it's still in the news.
Black crime. Black on black crime, and guess what's running those black on black crime cities? Democrats.
And you don't see where the
I
family
knew you was
structure
gonna go there.
need to
You see,
be.
you act
And the
like I
family
don't see
and the
that.
family structure will fix all of that shit.
The family structure is gonna stop somebody from blowing somebody else's head off.
They got nothing to do with it.
I'm not disagreeing with the family structure. What I'm trying to say is because Mr. Draper mentioned black on black crime. He mentioned cities ran by Democrats, as if you know, and because I know how budget allocation works. At the top, you got the feds. They write the budget. Okay, they write it, sign in a law, whatever. The money go to the states.
What does have to do with black on black crime?
But let me finish. I'm gonna show you how this ties into it. Money goes to the states. The states get their money. They write their budget. Money goes to each individual county or independent cities. Mine included, because mine's an independent city. So with that being said, when you start to cut things at the federal level, the problems are going to roll downhill. Bullshit always rolls downhill. So we have, again, 40 years of deregulation, 40 years of union busting, 40 years of cutting programs that actually were helping people. Like you might have now I don't know. Now Texas might have their ideas of how to run things, but Maryland might have a completely different way of going about it. Maryland might have a program, let's say, that to help people find work, and it might be jumping. It might be work. It might be perfect. So with that being said, but let me finish. With that being said, Maryland's program might work, and then all of a sudden at the top they say, okay, we don't like Maryland's doing that. We don't like that Maryland's doing that. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut funds for this and cut funds for that. Now Maryland, because their money's finite, they might have to get rid of their program altogether.
It's individual responsibilities. Now, when some shit happened, like your President Obama lived in Chicago.
I love how you said your President Obama.
Nobody gives a shit. They don't come there and stop the crime. When they can tell a city to shut down, we don't want nobody out here after 9 o'clock. Why don't they do that to Chicago? Why don't they do that? The mayors in these Democratic cities to shut that shit down and arrest
Valerie asked me, why am I LOL? This is not funny. I'm telling you the truth. Because I've heard these arguments a million times before, and they're always full of holes.
They would stop it.
You still not filling in the holes.
Chicago and some of the other places that they actually march along. If they really wanted to stop crime, you can start from their bottom up. And that is, we got a curfew, we're going to put lawmen on the street, we're going to drive around, we're going to end this shit. We're going to end these people down every night. The young black people, the young black
all
babies.
Welfare recipients should be drafted. I don't think a lot of these welfare recipients would even make the cut to join, to be honest with you. You're saying all welfare recipients should be drafted. I don't think so. I don't think that'll work.
Don't say that, because he's speaking for everybody to be on welfare right now.
Said anything about
no, I ain't speaking for everybody to be on welfare. I'm speaking for.
Even if you're not, your argument is aimed towards that, to which they're going to end up doing that with that power that they're gaining, that you're giving them. If you understand what I'm saying. They want federal control over everything. If you say if you say they was cutting federal at the top, why would you want to give federal government control over the monthly checks coming in? They can tell you what you can do with your money and when you can do it.
If you're a mayor,
well,
that's socialism.
Like I said, I did 4 years in the Navy, right?
On top of that, you got DPS. You got all kinds of government agencies can come and stop this mass killing every weekend.
You stop the mass killing by getting everybody jobs, man. You stop the mass killing by educating folks. That's how you stop it.
You can also call whatever law they can call the national law. The mayor can call.
I'm gonna ask you this then. Okay, I'm gonna ask you this. Since everybody, okay, let me ask y'all this then.
Allocating their budget.
All right.
They got somebody to do it.
Hold on, Dad. Ask the question, Tony.
Let me ask you this then. So you honestly think, you don't think that with what they're saying is horizontal violence, which y'all want to call black on black crime. You don't think they disguising themselves to make it look like us and doing this shit?
What is that?
You ain't even hear what I said, man. You don't think that? You don't think these people aren't going out?
I mean, like, okay, violence is violence to me.
You don't think? You don't? Okay, so you believe? Okay, so you believe?
Violence is. All I know is black on black crime, and we're killing each other. How
so
can
you don't think? So you don't think those numbers? If they lying about our population, right? If they lying about our population, you don't think they lying about? You don't think they lying about the amount of us killing each other? You don't think they lying about that? And when I say lying about it, listen to what I'm saying. But let me finish.
Lying about black on black.
You don't think they lying about us? You don't think they lying about how many of us are actually out here killing each other? You don't think they're setting some shit off? You don't think they not out here setting some shit off? You don't think they out here? You don't think they out here setting? You don't think they out here disguising themselves, going into our communities, not one of us, and making us thinking that it's us doing it, just to set it off and causing a chain reaction? You don't think that's not going on? Like, come on, man.
We need to get the guns off the street, out of their hands.
We tried that.
Bad guys.
You've had the most. And I'll agree with y'all on this. The places with the strictest gun laws got the most killing.
Of course.
And why is that? Why do you think the places with the strictest gun laws got the most killing?
Because, you know what I'm saying, they bringing them in other ways. Most of these places don't even have gun stores in their community. You know what I'm saying? Right. We seeing stories of trains dropping guns off, people waking up, people waking up, walking their back alley on the way to school, got crates of guns sitting in the alley. You know what I'm saying? Over modified guns and all kind of stuff. So people are coming in, dropping them off, and we know who these people are. They call for to buy back your guns all the time. What do you think they're doing with them?
You don't hear about gun buyback programs out in the country. You don't hear about gun buyback programs in the suburbs. It's only in the inner city. Because they don't want everyday. Hold on, because they don't want everyday working people to be able to protect themselves. That I'll give you.
A gun buyback only the citizen, the good person, not the criminal.
Probably said it's them out there hunting us. I agree.
A criminal is not going to bring his gun in.
Say that again, Dad.
Because he's a criminal.
Say that again.
Is there a criminal? What I'm saying is, I've long held the belief.
They bring their guns in, but the criminal keeps his gun because that's what he does. He's a criminal.
All I'm saying is, I've long held the belief.
It's like gun control. Gun control. Every time I hear something, a Democrat goes, gun control.
Gun control does not work.
There's no such thing as gun control. It just never happens. It never works. It never, it's just a joke.
They don't want everyday people that go to work to be able to protect themselves. That's why they make it incredibly difficult for me, somebody like me, knowing where I live, to be able to carry something in case I gotta protect myself. Now that goes into.
Let me ask you this right quick: are you scared you're gonna get accosted by a white person or a black person?
I'm more scared I'm gonna get accosted by a white person than a black person.
Oh my God!
And here's why. And here's why. And here's why. Because a lot of times, that white person has the backing of the state. They have the backing of the courts. They have the backing of a defense attorney who can get them off.
We're back to that racism in the courts.
I'm not. Hey, that's just how I feel. I'm looking at it. See, a black person that it costs me. Hold on. Now tell me if I'm wrong here. Just like. Hold on. Just like.
I guarantee you that.
Hold on. just like you know, just like you know that black on black crime isn't as heavily reported, right? Do you really like just like you know black on black crime isn't as heavily reported? I know.
Dying and stuff and looting, there was way more black people there than it was white. They went out, but there was way more black people. And then that white dude who got kicked in the head and shit they were showing on TV, black guy. We are a vicious, violent race. And that, I swear to
you actually believe that about your own people?
No shit. And we're quick to get into
look how many people got shot in Chicago. Who were the shooters? Look at the number of people. Who were the shooters?
Look at the amount of poverty in Chicago. Tell me poverty doesn't breed crime.
But that's lack of knowledge. You know what I'm saying? They lacking a lot of stuff
lack
out
of
there.
education, right? A lack of knowledge
lack of education, right? and lack of homes.
Okay.
Lack of real homes.
So let me ask Mr. Draper then. Let me ask Mr. Draper this. Let me ask Mr. Draper this. Oh, they say he's scared of mama's place. That's hilarious. So let me ask Mr. Draper. Let me ask you this: you are aware? So you and I agree that when it comes to black people being accosted by other black folks, they're not going to report it as frequently, right? Yes or no?
Sure.
Okay, so that means you know that if somebody was to try to accost you, drop them on the street, it's not going to be any news, right? It's not going to be any advocacy, whatever, right?
People say like if a baby is in the car and somebody like gang banging shit going on and the baby get killed, they will report that.
They'll report that, but if it's just two grown men that looked at this black and they get into it, one of them get dropped on the street, at the most it's going to be on page 8 in the newspapers, right?
Say again?
At the most, if there's two black people, two grown black men that got an issue with each other, and one of them, or they both drop each other on the street, at the most it's going to be page 8 news, right? You agree with that, right?
If it's reported at all, but it all depends on.
Okay, yeah, that's why I said at the most page 8 news. So that's why I'm not afraid if a black person accosts me, because I know that if I were to defend myself, it wouldn't be an issue. It would be no issue.
You must get a white person accosting you.
And I defend myself against them, it's going to be some problems. It's going to be some real drama behind that. That's the point I'm trying to make. I know if a white person was to try me and I so much as hit them back and drop their ass on the concrete and giggle my ass off while I'm doing it, I know for a fact.
Hit you first, then you defend yourself.
Exactly. You see what I'm saying?
That's how you win in court. That's how you win in court.
Yeah, that's how you win in court. But even still, you know how it goes. The DA could be mad. The judge could be like, well, I don't care what they say. I'm going to give his ass maximum sentence or whatever. You do so much to defend yourself. The problem is there's too much restraint that we don't exercise around our own people that we so freely give to the white man. There's so much restraint that we got to exercise. We better smile every time we see this white man.
You know what? If I didn't know how old you are, I swear to God, you was about 60 years old.
Man,
16.
75, 80.
Yeah, at least. The way you talk.
He taking us backwards.
Because we don't give shit to the white man anymore. We don't give a shit about that.
That's all we're trying to get the majority of your attention. You taking us backwards when you come to think about it.
How am I taking us backwards? It's the truth. It's the truth. I see it every day. I see it every day. There's not just in a way that the media handles things, which I know is like 100% bullshit. Just in a way that everything from message boards, as far as the paradigm shift, as far as the way that race relations are in this country, everybody says bringing it up takes us back. Bringing it up don't take us back. You wouldn't ignore the oil light in your car, would you?
And what scares me is it's a false reality of power. You know what I'm saying? We thinking we have power when actually they still got the guns, but they using us and racism as a power.
That's the point I was trying to make. Militant. That's the point I was trying to make this whole time, Militant. That's the point I was trying to make.
That's not what we heard.
You know what?
That's not what you heard. That's the point I was trying to make. You had said, because you had said earlier that racism is a distraction. I'm saying there's a power dynamic in place.
It is a distraction.
I don't think it is. I think that's exactly what's happening. Because if you agree that all these government programs disproportionately negatively affect black people, you're admitting that white supremacy is an action.
Black people affect themselves, which is something they own self-esteem, because they suck in these narratives and definitions that these white folks give them, and they got them use that shit on everybody else, including themselves. It is nothing wrong with these fools, but they don't want to get up. They lazy, and they looking for every excuse to get what they want. You know what I'm saying? The easy way, when a lot of us is out here busting our ass to get our shit.
Well, just because I had it hard to get to what I got doesn't mean I want everybody else to have it hard. That drives my paradigm.
You said earn it.
Just because I had it hard,
you're gonna raise a generation with no
don't mean
integrity.
I want everybody else to have it difficult.
So you want generations after this to have no integrity for themselves.
You didn't really take care of it. But if you turn that car, you will take care of it.
What did he say?
Oh, another one of those constant things. When people start giving you anything you want to appreciate it very much.
Well, I appreciate what I have. All I'm saying is,
you won't appreciate it. They got to keep giving it to you, though.
Just because I had it difficult doesn't mean that you're supposed to want the next generation to do better than you.
No, I want them to learn, because I got more value in myself growing up the way I did. You know what I'm saying? I mean, single layer walls and shit in your fucking house and shit. Got daggone mold coming up from the floors and shit. Goddamn, I'm talking about the real projects, nigga. You know what I'm saying?
You shouldn't have lived like that. No, you shouldn't have had to go through that, man.
Exactly.
I never advocate for anybody to live like that.
But just because I'm doing well, that don't mean I'm
so sweet. Ain't nobody sleep, Charlie's. Ain't nobody sleep out here. I'm dead like
that. Everywhere I look at that house is concrete. She had to use those kind of stick tapes to put, pictures on the wall, because she couldn't nail in the damn thing. Newz was like government housing. Who the hell would live in a concrete house? That's just that,
man. What make it?
Ain't nobody sleep, man.
What make it so bad? Mine wasn't even government housing.
That was just built.
If he wants the government to take care of him, man, he's gonna have to go down to Puerto Rico or somewhere.
I ain't lying. Go get your 5 eggs, man.
I don't want to wait for the
5 eggs. That's what you swear every day is 5 eggs and ration.
Yes, go listen to the people's stories who's trying to talk from over there. They giving you horror stories on what communism is. This is the first time they can speak in 60 years.
You don't think those people have an agenda?
What agenda would you have? They couldn't speak for 60 years.
They have an agenda because a lot of them were landowners that got thrown off their land. And they got thrown off their land because they weren't trying to pay the people working under. People were working for next to nothing when Castro took over. Now, does Castro have his issues? No, he had his issues. Do I agree with tribunals and public executions? I don't agree with that shit.
These black traders is setting up our whole culture for a Holocaust. That's exactly what they do.
He built hospitals in the countryside. You know, the literacy rate was drastically improved. This is a brown country. Okay? This is a brown country. So I'm gonna believe what a brown country has to say over what a white supremacist country has tried to put into my head all my 32 years of life.
You're not hearing what they're saying, because what they're saying is what I just told you.
Yeah, the people that left. The people that left. And you know why they left? It wasn't because he was being oppressed. It's because they couldn't exploit anybody else. That's why they left. All I'm saying is there's another side of the story that they can tell.
Anything on Venezuela?
Or Venezuela? Yeah. Nothing that a lack of foreign intervention wouldn't fix. If we hadn't got our noses in Venezuela, Venezuela's economy wouldn't have gotten as bad as it did. In fact, Venezuela has one of the strictest voter ID laws in the world. You need your fingerprints to be able to sign up to vote.
And what's wrong with getting ID over here?
Say what?
What's wrong with having an ID over here to prove who you are?
I'm not saying I'm saying that if you really want strict voter ID laws, the country y'all hate so like to mention, Venezuela got the strictest voter ID laws ever.
Wait a minute. They were strict.
They're stricter than over here. They're stricter than down there. They're stricter than up here. You need to register with your fingerprint down there.
Did you also know that certain countries dodging bullets to go vote? The people had to dodge getting shot.
Yeah, because you got, again, you have provocateurs paid by other countries to destabilize their government. That's because their government isn't stable. Anytime you have look at Bolivia and what happened over there.
Isn't that socialism?
In Bolivia, the people voted for that for Morales overwhelmingly, but then there was a coup that took him out. The coup is not supported by the majority of the people.
Did they or did they not have socialism there?
Do they or do they not have socialism? They got a form of it.
Okay, is it working?
I say so, because they keep voting for the guy. And their elections are actually designated as free and fair. But what you're failing to realize, listen, but what you're failing to realize is that there was a coup attempt by a hard right-wing government where they tried to take away every single concession that the government had made toward the indigenous people there.
Have you heard this before? Show me your papers.
Say again?
Because that is what you're gonna see when you go into your socialism. Wherever you go. And they're gonna tell you when you can visit. They're gonna tell you when you can go to the store. They're gonna tell you what car you're gonna drive. I think that's what you want.
And how come it came out that there were more vacations taken in socialist countries during the Cold War than when the wall came down? How come there was greater income equity across the board in countries behind the Eastern Bloc than over here? I'm not saying it was 100% better, but when everybody has a job that's paying well, I'm just saying.
Send this dude to Cuba, let him stay there for a month, and
Charles,
then
you don't think we be pressured to go a certain way here? Come on, man.
I guarantee you, when you get back from Cuba, you'll be kissing the ground in the United States. I don't give a shit how bad the United States of America is. I want to live here, right here, than anywhere else, because people are dying to get here. That should tell you something right there.
People are dying to get here, but you want to keep them all out.
If you
Mike Lindell, you believe the My Pillow guy, that nut job? Well, that's it right there. That is it right. That's all I needed to hear right there. He accused me of adhering to a white supremacist ideology, but listening to Mike Lindell.
You see what I put? It's $5 million on the line. If he's wrong, prove him wrong, and you win $5 million. Don't argue with me. I just put it up. Anybody can prove him wrong for all that bullshit y'all done told us for the last couple of months. You can prove him wrong, or what he's going to expose, or what he can expose, because you're talking for them. You know what I'm saying? No matter if you voted for him or not, you're speaking for that side. You know what I'm saying? So I'm standing for my country. You know what I'm saying? And there's more than white people. Yes, my country. Yes. My dad, my granddad, and everybody fought for this country.
The same country you say is fucking us over. Your country.
If you let it fuck you over.
Which one is it? Which one is it? Are you for it or are you against it? Are you for it or you against it? Which one is it?
Do you see red,
Because I
white,
can
and
tell
blue
you
on my
right. Because I
fucking
can
owl?
tell you right
Goddamn,
now.
I'm for my fucking country. What the fuck are
You're
you
for
talking
it.
about? How you gonna be against your country when you know you ain't got no other friends out here in the fucking world and you stuck behind enemy lines? Nigga, you is stupid. Go ahead and keep trying to flip the script.
I'm not flipping the script. I'm just saying you made this entire narrative that this country is wrong, X, Y, Z, and I agree with you on that. And then you
never
say
said the
it's my
country was
country.
wrong. I didn't
You
never
never
say the
said it
country
was
was wrong. I
wrong.
said you was wrong.
You said I was wrong because you think I'm for them. Who's them then? Riddle me that.
Say that one more time. I'm reading.
You said I'm talking for them. Who's them?
Talking for them. The people in power. The people in power at this moment. Everything that you hold on. Let me talk. We sat here and let you talk a bunch of bullshit. Which go now? You sat here and spoke for a side who is in power now, no matter if you voted for him or not. But all of that stuff that you say is a product of what they're trying to do to destroy this country and us.
Hilarious.
All right.
That's hilarious you mentioned that, because I could tell you right now that I have nothing but issues with the Democratic Party. That's hilarious that you mentioned that.
Then I don't understand your narrative at all. And I'm pretty sure Pops is confused right now too.
You say my Pops,
Mr. Draper.
Okay.
No, I'm talking about Mr. Draper. I'm pretty sure Mr. Draper is kind of confused too, because this is exactly what you preached to us for the last hour and some change.
I'm just saying, because I don't espouse the Democratic talking points. I was talking about how they don't go far enough. I was talking about how what their problem is
if they go any further, you won't have yourself.
My problem with listen, let me finish. My problem with the Democratic Party was this, and everything I was talking about is why I'm not even registered as one or the other. I already told you. I told Tiff Pops early on. I said I'm not your standard liberal. I'm far to the left of them. They don't like my black ass, and the reason is because I speak for myself. Because I talk about how a lot of their programs are incomplete. A lot of them don't get the help to the people that need it. Am I saying give everybody a handout? No, what I'm saying is you at the very least get people educated to where they can apply themselves. Y'all keep completely missing that point.
Why even support them if they got decades and decades and decades of them
not doing it,
period, but a bunch of false promises?
I never said I supported them.
You
I
just
never
did.
said I supported them.
You asking questions mean you asking them to why they not doing this, doing that. You're still over there with them asking them these questions.
No, I'm just
You would be over here with me
I'm
and
asking
saying
them those questions to give me a reason. I'm asking them to give me a reason to vote for them. There's a difference between being with them and still pulling the lever for them. Hell no. There's a difference between asking somebody to do something and you still pull a lever for them versus you asking them, why should I pull the lever for you? I question everything. You know, if there was a Republican that said, I'm for re-implementing Reconstruction, I'd be like, okay, how you want to get that done? Simple as that. I'm asking them these questions so that, so to see if it would be reasonable for me to even think about pulling the lever for them. Not, I'm still in lockstep with them.
And truthfully, and I'm not speaking for the right either. I don't want you to think that I'm coming from that angle. We're trying to start a new wave as far as something that we can actually control. Go ahead.
Let me interject real fast. I'm going to talk to my dad privately real fast and let y'all two continue. And Tony and you and Dad can continue this for part 2. But y'all continue. Thank you so much, Dad. Thank you. Stop it. Y'all two talk. Thank you, Daddy. Thank you, Tony and Moody. Y'all keep mad. Y'all keep going.
All right. Hey, I lost my witch call. Give me going.
You was
again,
talking about how you don't speak for the right. You're trying to create a new wave in a new direction.
Not me
something
trying
that's
to
actually
create
conducive to our community.
Not me create a new wave. We all need to create a new wave because we see the destruction on both sides. You know what I'm saying? We are the future of this country. We know what we want. You know what I'm saying? And we know what you're saying as far as that communist socialist agenda would not fit in with people. That means you're trying to switch. They're trying to change this country overnight. That is impossible for you to do, to switch over to communism. You know what I'm saying? They're going to turn everybody's life upside down. We was not going that way. We was prospering. We was, no matter how it seems, you know what I'm saying? We wanted our houses. You know what I'm saying? We wanted the fence around our house. I ain't gonna say white picket fence because that do sound like a white dream. But you know what I'm saying? But we all want we all want that. You know what I'm saying? But the way it's going, like this CDC mandate thing that passed yesterday and stuff, we're not looking at the underlying things about this as far as the banks and stuff like this, to where over in China a year and a half ago, I seen the banks and what they did to those people's houses over there. You know what I'm saying? With the same system that they rolled in with the CDs, with the CCP controlling the income coming in and stuff like that. Then the next thing you know, they took all their private property. All the private property that you got, they about to take it. You know what I'm saying? You don't understand it. I'm sitting here looking at it. It just popped up last night, but I've been digging deep on it all night long. And it's like, yo, they're going to come through and try to snatch properties if this shit go any further. They can come through and demo your house. Already, you know what I'm saying? You look at Bill Gates and shit, he don't go off like 80% of the farmland. Most of our houses are sitting on these farmlands. He got all the money to control these banks too. You know what I'm saying? We got to watch what we're speaking out our mouth and bringing up in this country that wasn't part of us for the last 200 plus years. You know what I'm saying? We was not that. We're the land of the free and the home of the brave, for real. We're brave shit. We want to keep pushing. You know what I'm saying? Just like my pops did, just like my grandparents did through the roughest time. We talking like we lived through their era and we didn't. I didn't see racism every day. You know what I'm saying? I didn't see that at all. You know what I'm saying? I saw now that I'm older, I can look back and see what folks are talking about, but I know I had control over a lot of that stuff myself by the decisions I made. You know what I'm saying? We have to take accountability on oneself, not give accountability to these other people because you're not prospering. Because I could be living next to somebody next door that can own a Fortune 500 company right now, and we both grew up in on the same street with no sidewalks and shit. You know what I'm saying? It's like we in a country that you can get it if you work hard enough and apply your mind. Some people know how to get it easier than others. You know what I'm saying? But we about to throw all that away just because a group of lazy niggas, goddamn, is uncomfortable because they don't want to get up. That shit ain't right. And I don't want to speak up for them. And truthfully, I'm mad as hell at them. You know what I'm saying? You destroyed a lot of life and a lot of hard work that our ancestors done to get us to this point to where we're supposed to keep growing and not going backwards.
All right, this is my rebuttal to that. Not really a rebuttal. I made a point earlier of, and you and I both agree with this. You and I both agree that there are policies in place that disproportionately hurt our community, right?
Mm-hmm.
So with that being said, if we're aware of that, then we also have to look into, okay, if that's hurting us, what else is hurting us? That's all I'm saying.
Switch it
up. My solution. Remember, because it was a comment an hour ago that said, well, what do you propose? And I said, okay, co-ops. All right. Now, a co-op basically is you get 2, 3, 4 people. Well, yeah, about 4 or 5 people. They all put in for I guess it's a business. They all get paid the same because they all put in the same. How's that not fair? Tell me how that's not fair. If I invested the same amount as you, why shouldn't I get the same? Why shouldn't I get my same cut on the profits? You know,
because I mean, when I say it's hard to argue that with the way you put it. You know what I mean?
That's all a co-op is. You know what I mean? That's basically all it is. If everybody had invested with the same capital, with the same amount of money, with the same amount of even not even money, but the same amount of sweat equity, if you will, why shouldn't they get the same? Why shouldn't they get the same on the profit? All right. Now, people are saying buying and selling wouldn't work. Actually, all buying and selling that's just commerce. That's not capitalism. That's commerce. Commerce happens everywhere. If I have something that you want, and I say, okay, it's $20, and you agree that it's $20, okay, that's commerce. There's nothing. I'm not saying that's exploitative. The exploitative part is where you have somebody who ain't worked a day in his life, who gets handed a business with all these people working for him and don't understand what it took to build that business and don't understand people. Because when you put profit over people, you lose both. Everybody won't perform the same way. Everyone's work ethic is different. I'm gonna have to disagree with you. If I put $50,000 into starting a business, best believe I'm gonna work my ass off because that's $50,000.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Everybody will perform the same way if they invested the same. Now, if you have people who didn't put anything into it and they just doing it because they need to get by, yeah, they're gonna do what they feel like they have to do, the bare minimum. That's just how we're wired, right? But if everybody put in the same amount, if everybody said, okay, this is what I got for it, and in order for me to even see a return, I got to work my ass off to make this thing work, then yeah, they're going to work their ass off to make it work. Everybody's skill set is different. Okay, that doesn't mean that you can't use them. That's the problem, this whole individualistic mindset. We used to give a shit about the community.
We still do give a shit, but so many people don't give a shit about themselves. And the more we try to wake them up, they call us coons. They call a whole bunch of fucking names instead of looking at the situation that they in.
I'm looking at it like this, right? Okay. I wouldn't necessarily call somebody a coon who disagree. I think that's a disgusting word. Just like the N-word, I don't use that shit. Okay. Why would I use a word that somebody gave to me to talk down to me? Let's cut that off. Some are builders, some are talkers. I'm not saying it. What I'm saying is when you have, because you were saying how people don't care about themselves.
I fly off the end sometime.
I'm saying, hey, I feel like if you really want to do better for you and yours, it's some things that's got to stop. Some things just gotta stop, and I know what I can control. Okay, so you saying that some folks, that's a lot. You don't have $50,000. I was using 50,000 as an example of putting in to start something, right? So you saying a lot of people don't care about themselves. I'm saying too many people just care about themselves. You get what I'm saying? They thinking, well, I got mines, and that's all I care about. I'm not going to do anything here. I'm just going to bounce. And
how do we change that small way thinking, though? Because that's small way thinking.
How do we change this? You educate folks, man. You educate people.
They have a $30,000 car sitting in front of a $30,000 car sitting in front of a goddamn shack and shit. You know what I'm saying? They think they doing something. You know what I'm saying? They still thinking small and they materialistic. You know what I'm saying?
I don't have a problem with somebody staying in the hood as long as while they in the hood, they trying to do something in the hood. And when I say do something, I'm talking about something as simple as trying to get everybody together. Some people think a hammer is a weapon. Now he's just trolling. Right.
All right, we're gonna wrap it up in about 10 minutes. Y'all take us out. Let me get y'all last thought.
Basically, the point I was trying to make was I believe in community-based solutions. Okay. Now, as far as the federal government's involved, yes, the way that it is, yeah, the federal government is white supremacist as hell. I was in favor of what I was speaking was figuratively. If the federal government were actually by and for the people, the things that I was laying out, it would have done. I understand that with everything that currently happens, with everything they do give you, it's a hook behind it. I understand that. Okay. My argument was we get to a point where or I was advocating policies that there was no hook behind it, where it was genuine. But we know that, but you and I both know that it's not like that. Come on now. Like, my whole argument was where you have certain policies implemented. These were ideas that have proven to work in some cases or another. The Scandinavian model, for example. right? And you may argue that they have high taxes, but they also have a lot of innovation over there. They also have a lot of innovation, and their quality of life is so much better. We're, as far as our ranking, as far as quality of life, we're not even in the top 20, right? And that's for all over. I'm not just talking about our community. Hell, if you were to just isolate our community, we'd probably be even lower than that overall. You know, I'm a union cat. You know what I'm saying? I have a union where I work. So I see firsthand what happens when you have people advocating for you to get paid more. When you have people advocating for you to get paid more, there's just a lot of things you just ain't going to be involved in. And I mean detrimental things. So that's why I'm about that. One of my ideas as far as a co-op is concerned was kind of like how you get a bunch of people to invest, and they invest in buying back properties to like fight the creep of gentrification. You know, that's why I'm gonna close that.
Word. Well,
Okay. Final words for you, Matt.
I mean, I see where the brother's coming from, you know what I'm saying? I appreciate this conversation we was having, you know what I'm saying? He didn't make me mad enough to turn out, but that's okay. But it's like this. A lot of these projects that he is talking about to me actually starts at the root level. You know what I'm saying? We for a whole summer, we watch black folks walk outside their house, walk past people in their neighborhood who needed real help. You know what I'm saying? To go out into the streets and create chaos. You know what I'm saying? I don't mind the protests, but the chaos that came along with it. You know what I'm saying? It's like we have to learn how to fix our house in our village. You know what I'm saying? In order for a lot of these things to work, to get people to think on the same level as far as moving in a direction. You know, if not, we just wasting time as we just jumping right to the middle and set up this for this and set up that for that when they don't even know how to walk outside and pick up a piece of trash in front of their house. They wait for the office or somebody to come around and do it. You know what I'm saying? We just need to be more responsible. You know what I'm saying? And we ain't got much time. We got probably less than a year at this point, or just over a year. We got until about next November to actually save this country. And most people still don't really know what that means until it's going to be too late. You know, and it's going to be at that point, that's when we're talking about purges and all kind of stuff. We ain't going to have no food, the lack of water. We already ain't got no gas. You know what I'm saying? Bullets are already sold out. You know,
bullets been out since last year.
You defunding the police. That's going to lead to a lot of vigilantes and all that stuff. You bringing the Klan back. Are we bringing the Klan back? I ain't going to say you, he, whatever, because as long as people like me allowing this bullshit to keep happening and allowing our people to do this, it's all of us. You know what I'm saying? We got to meet in the middle because a lot of people is not cool with this direction and we see where it's going because we studied enough, we've seen enough in our lifetime to see that this is not going to be good. And who wants their kids and their grandkids to be standing in soup lines and stuff like this when you know you live free most of your life? You know what I'm saying? This is not a good angle we going at, but we need to wake up. And again, You know what I'm saying? I appreciate the brother's conversation, and I hope you come check me out and shit.
Yeah, I was just gonna say the pin. I'm gonna continue to leave that to be the pinned comment. I am about to go check out that video right now. Thank you so much, Tony, for standing your ground too. Thank you so much, Mad Militant. And it used to be a guy named Mad Moody. It used to be a guy named Mad Moody that always came in here. That's why I called you that on accident. So I wasn't calling you Moody. So just so you know, I'm about to go check out your channel right now. Thank y'all so much. And Tony, I'm gonna hop in your inbox because you know we got to do a quick recap.
One last word. This is real content right here. Fuck all that beef shit. You know what I'm saying? If they doing beef every damn day, turn them fools off and get on the real shit. You losing your goddamn country.
Yeah.
Beef don't pay the bills, man.
At least beef on what we beefing on. Beef on some topics. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's where I'm at.
That's why I'm changing the title of this because it's turned into something way much better. And I appreciate y'all so much. And I want y'all to have a good day. And I'm gonna see y'all on here later tomorrow.
Salute.
All right. I'm out.
All right.